Hello and welcome back to Dark Heresy, where fuck's sake, Raph, I swear to fucking God, I will march out of fucking Manchester and throttle the COVID-given life out of you. Hello and welcome back to Dark Heresy, where I, the Puppet Master, look down and realise there are no strings attaching my hands to marionettes, and they are free to fuck around as they see fit, much to my horror, as we have proven with this introduction. So, last time, you did some job interviews, rode some quad bikes, and discovered a dead body, all in a day's work for the Segmentum's most radical throne agents. So, without further ado, let's get back to it. So, let me change onto the map of the scholar. Og, have you listened to the recording?
I've managed to listen to the first 45 minutes, so nothing's happened.
Okay, cool. They've seen some
were
job interviews.
About the tour, they're still in the tour by the commissar.
Okay, cool. So you've not even
I
reached
rolled
quad
the
bikes
D2.
Yet? Yep, and that's where you zoned out. So, funnily enough,
That was me falling asleep, it seems.
Yeah, so what you've re-listened to is the stuff that you were emotionally and physically there for. So you've just done the same things twice. So, what's happened is these guys have basically attended lessons. They've shadowed a few things. They've seen what the crack is, really. They interviewed a few people one-on-one. They've kind of got a short list of people they like. However, shock horror, at the start of the fourth day, they went into the quarters of one of their stormtroopers called Dangir, and they discovered that he was dead. So, let's pick up where we left off. So, it's your fourth day on Fragandia. Emilia, Dangir's body is limp in your hands, his blood slick across the floor of his room. It's currently around 9 a.m. Classes are just starting across the scholar, and the barracks are empty. What would you like to do?
Yeah, we just investigated. He's definitely dead.
I can confirm. He's in shit. He's gone. He's kicked the bucket.
Now you said he had bruises and stuff as well as a shot to his head.
Yeah,
or...
your quick look. So he's got a gunshot wound going through his temple. He's got bruises over his arms and his legs. And yes, he is not a demon. Although you don't really know that.
Not sure.
With that 6 degrees of failure, Jesus.
How about a squat check?
A squat check. Roll for squat. That's fine.
Wait, hold up.
So yeah, you would obviously need to do a proper autopsy to fully, get the vibes. Oh, sorry, there was another gunshot wound in his leg as well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What's the threshold?
Well, that's for me to know and you to find out.
But yeah, I mean, obviously we need to go inform someone and take care of the body.
There is a morgue at the scholar, as frequently people die. It's part of the main building.
Can Torra investigate the room? There's signs of a struggle.
Okay, sure. Give me an awareness roll, please.
Also, what are the not odds, but chances of someone running away? Should we put things into lockdown?
It's been mentioned a few times that this place has no walls because it's surrounded by an ice sheet. Rest assured that if anyone was missing, they would be accounted for due to absence.
You know what? Sorry, no, finish.
No. So yeah, you have a little search around. So the main things that you notice, there's a big blood stain on the wall near his bed, and the desk is dented, but you're not really able to get anything more than that.
I would like to use a fate point to have a closer look.
Have a closer look. I can
use fate to pass awareness and perception tests.
Okay, perfect. This is going to be a long check because you've got a lot of room to poke around. It's small, but there's a lot in it. So what does Torra the detective look like?
Torra, he pulls out one of his glow sticks and he sort of he pulls out a glow stick from one pocket and a pipe from the other, and kind of just jams the glow stick, the entire thing, just in the end of the pipe, and lights the tip of that.
So it's like a really long filter.
Yeah, like Cruella de Vil, but with a pipe.
Lothar pats his chest, looks at you, and goes, "Hey."
And he puts his thinking face on, which is a lot like his confused face, but it's not his confused face because it's his thinking face.
It's a confused face with a positive goal at the end of it.
Yeah, and as someone who's definitely not murdered people inside their homes before, it's a question of, is there enough blood here that the body was killed here, not brought here? Outside of the, like, does the thing on the wall sort of like CSI, like, does the angle work from like the entry wound if he was like sitting at the desk? Is there signs of someone like, do the doors lock? Is there sign of forced entry?
There are no locks, there are no windows either.
So if Torra goes to the window and then to the wall,
yes,
how far does the blood drop down that wall?
It's terrible. So whilst you're having your little poke around, should we deal with the body? So yeah, you guys basically have Kroll, who is your contact with the scholar, the commissar, on speed dial, if you wish to give him a little ring-a-ding.
Yeah, I mean, we need to. Kroll's the guy that was bringing us around, the guy we saved, right?
Yeah.
Amelia. Sorry, go Lothar.
I was gonna say I can reach out to the commissar here while you guys are handling this. I think.
Amelia, I've had a fantastic idea. You know this visor you've given me that counts my kills? Why don't we just get all the suspects and we put the visor on them, and if they have an extra kill, they killed this guy?
Yeah, why don't we do that?
Why don't we do this?
Yeah, I'm definitely taking this call outside.
What?
It's not retroactive. Like,
I like that if you look up actually with the visor into the sky, you can see the kill lead the leaderboard.
At this point,
it's like the Hunger Games.
Amelia's heard enough of Torra's shit that she's not even phased and is still looking at the body, knowing that he was going to say something stupid and not to even give him attention.
It's basically just automated with Amelia now. It's like talking to an old person in a retirement home. It's like, oh, that's nice, yeah.
Space Marines have those automatic sound dampeners, like built into their body or something like that. Amelia is contemplating the same, but it hears like the register of Torra's voice, and just like shutters come down over her ears.
Oh god. So yeah, you've got him on the on your microbead. If you want to, basically any of the main tutors you can call.
Yeah. Commissar, are you there?
You hear him go up. One moment, class, and you hear a door shut behind him. He goes, "Yes,
it's Leviosa."
Commissar, as you probably can hear behind me, there's been a problem. We need your assistance down at the barracks. It has to do with one of the students.
What's happened?
I think this is more something you need to see, rather than being communicated over microbead.
Right. Very well. I'll be there immediately. You hear him briefly yell some commands to what you assume is a nearby teacher, and head out of his room. Microbead shuts off.
Gotcha. I click off. All right, he's commissar's on his way. So no one's touched anything, right? Why does no one answer me?
Well, you were outside.
Torra definitely touched everything.
Oh, that's right. So I opened the door. So you guys haven't touched anything in here, right?
Torra's put his finger on the blood and licks it thoughtfully.
Okay, as you're doing that, I'm gonna tell you what you find in the room. So, his
hepatitis.
Room. Yeah, you've got blood poisoning and everything. I think
I've already got the alphabet mafia of hepatitis inside me, bud.
Torra's too full of diseases. No more can get in.
That explains the yellow eyes.
So, oh god, that's just it. Warwick writes a note for when Torra gets corrupted by Merkel.
I think he's quite the opposite now. I think he's a carrier of so many things, but he's not succumbed to them. It's a wonder that he's still here.
It's almost like if you can imagine all of these diseases and a door, and all of them try to get through the door at once.
It's been 0 sessions since we had a Simpsons
champion of a Chaos God. I feel like at this point we're going to have me of Khorne, Torra of Nurgle. Let's see, Amelia will probably Zinch. and then Lothar is going to be.
Why'd you leave me, Slaanesh? Why did you leave me with
Because you're the
Slaanesh?
sexually frustrated. No, it's gonna be.
You're not smart enough to get Siege.
That's
it's gonna be
probably true.
No, it's gonna be what you don't expect. Amelia is gonna be Korn. Torra is gonna be Zeech. You're gonna be Slaanesh, and Lothar is gonna be Nurgle.
And BGZ is going to be Malal.
Hey,
It's the worst episode of Cheers ever.
Isn't that not canon anymore?
It's debatable. There is a Space Marine warband called the Sons of Malice who are very much hinted to be following a minor chaos god in the lore. So enough about old lore. Anyway.
Also, didn't they change? Isn't it Malice, not Malal these
yeah,
days?
so there's a weird copyright thing because it was actually made by a third party. I think for Warhammer Fantasy. So it's kind of debatable who owns it, which is the reason they moved away from it. So Dangir's room is identical to every other one in the Scholar, except for being the scene of a grisly murder. There is his bed, the toilet, and a desk. Just so you know, Og, when they found the body, they opened the door and he was lying on the floor, face down on the floor. His feet were still tangled up in the bed, and the blood had pooled around his bed. So, couple of things.
So, do you mind just spelling his name for me? I'm just adding it.
Dan.
Dan.
Gir.
Dundir.
So, there is his
Dundee
blood in two distinct pools. There's one pool over by the desk, and the pool where his head was when you first arrived in the centre of the room. So, as you lick the blood, you realise that the pool by the desk is a few degrees colder than the blood in the middle of the room. There is also a small blood splatter on the wall by his bed and traces of dried blood in his sheets, particularly where his legs were tangled. His desk...
One over the desk, one underneath his desk, one by desk, slightly cooler.
Yes, there's one by the desk which is slightly cooler, literally like a couple of degrees, and then there's a central one where his head was. There's also a blood splatter on the wall and dried blood in his sheets from where you imagine he was shot in the leg and it's, been in the sheets. His desk has a small dent in the centre, as if struck by something small and blunt with decent force, and it's buckled the thin metal slightly as if someone's hit it from above. His personal belongings are quite few. There's some stationery and a notebook. The blood stain on the wall also has a scorch mark in the centre of it, as if it is from a energy-based weapon.
As if caused by energy weapon.
Amelia, did you figure out what killed him?
This is for Torra or all of us.
This is told to Torra, but will be shared.
Detective Torra shares his findings.
And what gun does the guy have? What's
Give me an awareness roll.
Nah.
No, don't know. All right. I don't care.
You are
I'm trying to find
I'll sit here as long as it fucking takes for you to solve this murder mystery.
Awareness perception, awareness intelligence.
I think perception, you're searching for a weapon.
But what if he's searching cleverly?
Well, cool.
Hey.
Oh my god.
That is a fantastic roll, 49 against a skill of 50. You search the room thoroughly and you cannot find a weapon here at all.
Okay, the other thing I wanted to invest, I know there'll be time to really go over the body, but one thing, there's two holes. I want to see that they match up to be the same shot, the same weapon.
Okay. So looking at having a quick look over at his the entry wound and the exit wound from his temple, they do appear to be from an energy weapon. They are scorched around the edge. And the shot in his leg appears to have not gone all the way through, but is, yes, similarly from a energy weapon.
But wouldn't an energy weapon cauterize if it didn't go all the way through? It's dissipating into the body.
How I run it. It cauterizes the skin, but it still bleeds. As in, on the inside, it doesn't. If it was a small, thin laser, yes, but these are like half an inch. It's like a bolt hitting him.
Okay, that's fair. I was gonna say because Lothar absolutely would have picked up on that. But there's no reason why there would be this much blood.
Lothar, from your expertise, this does seem to be from a las weapon. You have seen las weapons used before.
So then the question is this their standard weaponry that they all have here, or what's
So
standard?
as you remember from Veld telling you, the stormtroopers are trained with all manner of things, primarily hell guns. But I mean, you went to training when they were using auto guns. He's also mentioned they've used bolt guns on occasion. Yeah,
But on the personal, like what they would take back to their barracks.
they do not carry weapons.
Okay. Yeah, but there's all manner of weapon in
Yes,
the
on
building
site.
itself.
Yeah.
This is going to present a problem.
Cool. Speaking of problems presenting, the commissar has just come out of Scholar. He's barreled down towards the barracks, gets off his quad bike, and he walks over to you, the snow clinging to his black trench coat. He takes his hat off as he approaches.
Lothar instinctively salutes and then puts his arm back down.
He quite weakly salutes back. Not like he doesn't respect you, but he's just confused why he's saluting.
Sorry, force of habit.
I understand.
Commissar, there's been a problem here with one of the students' Dangir. If you will, you need to see this. And he opens the door.
Perfect.
As the commissar walks into the room, Torra, who's like crouching by the body and like poking at the leg wound, and then like pokes at the scorch mark, and goes, "Looks like, Commissar, whoever did this was a hot shot." And he stands up and he pulls his pair of sunglasses on and goes, "Yeah!"
As the yeah echoes around the small room, Commissar looks down at the body and immediately says a quiet prayer, making the sign of the Aquila across his chest.
Or did any of us do that? We just walked and went, "Ooh, yay, bodies!"
I mean, we have a priest here.
Yeah.
I likely did that.
Absolutely. Retcon. We've seen our family respecting the dead before. I think it's canon.
I've also seen him disrespecting the dead too.
That is true. We've had both. I forgot that.
I respect in the way I respect. You respect the way you respect. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah.
You built an altar out of skulls, my friend. I mean,
No, I
that's
didn't.
you absolutely
I
did.
did not build an altar out of skulls.
All right, I'm sorry.
was
You built
a
a
small-
small table out of skulls.
I'm-
Excuse me.
I built a small doll for a gift for our leader.
As
With
right.
maybe 1 or 2 tibias. It was done once.
I'm
And
just
apparently
doing
it's
an
not
erotic
okay.
dance for my friend. You've ruined the mood.
I don't
Troll
understand.
seems a little bit concerned at this confession, but he.
Oh, shit.
An Imperium person concerned about skull effigies. Have you been to the
There's
Imperium?
a difference between skulls, respectfully, and an effigy of skulls.
It depends on how tasteful it is. It makes
Exactly.
it art versus
No,
pornography.
I imagine there's plenty of churches in the 40k universe that are like those weird French churches.
Oh, like full on, Eastern Orthodox covered in
Yeah.
skulls. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
But this is not one of them. And Commissar Kron looks down at the body and says, "Well, what happened here?"
Well, we think he was in danger.
He's dead.
Dangir
We've
in
got
danger.
our
Imagine
best
that.
crime scene medic on it. Amy, give us the sit rep on his life.
It appears. Actually, do I have a time frame potentially here,
You
or
don't know when he died yet. You'd need to do an autopsy to work.
Okay.
How would the warmth of the blood give Torra an idea of like a 6-hour range? Like if there's still a temperature difference between the two bloods that's noticeable enough
Yeah,
for
they
Torra to
haven't
figure out
equalised
that
yet.
that was the yeah.
I think so. It's 9 a.m. currently. You reckon this occurred either early last night or in the evening? At least
Or at least the wounds were.
Yeah, like the wounds happened before you got here. Is basically what I'm trying to say.
So
just-
that
a
happened
relief.
sometime in
I
the
thought we did
early
it.
evening.
Or potentially, like until you've done a full autopsy, you'd be unable to confirm exactly a time frame of events.
It were-
know with las weapons and a grudge? Torra just like makes eyes at Lothar.
I look back and I look to the commissar to say, do you know of anybody who at the school and actually knows Dangir that would have a grudge against him?
Well, I suppose I can ask the students as part of the stormtrooper stream, but
They have to requisition weapons, don't they?
yes, we use them in the hallucinariums.
Someone
and-
keeps.
yes, there is
Oh.
a log made.
Okay, we'll lock down the las weapons and find the data entries on them, because that's
yes.
what it appears.
Yes, Amelia. And he gets back on the quad bike and he says, "I will send some adepts to come help with the body, and we can take it to the morgue." And he dons
Can I
his hat.
see? Can I see
Yes.
if there's anything off about him, just out of curiosity?
Yeah, sure. Give
What
me.
would I do for that?
Oh, what is a vibe check in this?
Insight.
Can I
But
check
they-
for vibe?
No. I think
They
fellowship this would
have
be.
insight.
Fellowship? Could I make a perception check for scrutiny, potentially?
Yes, scrutiny.
Okay, I'm going to use perception for that. Is that okay?
Yes. Let's see. Ooh.
Oh.
Everything seems fine.
Huh,
He is
okay.
your standard intimidating commissar. His emotions are shielded by years of training. So he jets off over the bridge back towards the main scholar on his quad bike, cloud of dust and snow behind him. Soon after, you hear the whining of another quad bike engine as two Grimface adepts come with a body bag in tow.
They wouldn't happen to be any of the other students we've seen so far, would they?
No, they're not sending students to collect the other students. These are the minor unnamed staff members, of which there are thousands or hundreds here. Who I've
Oh, I've
mentioned.
misunderstood. I thought that. I mean, that's a character building kind of a thing, though.
Yeah, hey, go get
No.
your previous dead students. It's a good laugh.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to do that
Yeah,
on the battlefield, right? So,
Yeah. It's
Makes
character
sense.
building.
I mean, we don't need that right now.
You don't need the body bag yet.
No, we don't need to have the students pick up their.
Oh yes, yeah. There are bigger issues right now. Right now, they're all still in. I could say it's like 9:30. They're about half hour through their first lesson of the day.
Wow.
Torra thinks to himself, it is the brain, the little grey cells on which one must rely. One must seek the truth within, not without.
He's doing the thing where he mumbles again, isn't he?
So the only sort of personal belonging he had in the room that you were able to find from his search, you know that stormtroopers and all students at the Scholar really don't have many things. It's part of the whole lack of identity thing they try and go for. He does have a notebook.
It's very kind of part of the crew, part of the ship.
What, sorry?
Part of the crew, part of the ship.
No, it actually has lesson notes on its stuff this year, so it's nothing to Pirates of the Caribbean, I'm afraid.
No, but I'm just saying, as in like the lack of identity, part of the crew, part of the
it's
ship.
more, we don't want you to remember the trauma of how you got here, and let's forget who you were and remold you.
Okay.
Just look at Othamiel, he's fucked up.
We.
Oh God, he's French now.
I know. That's what happens.
That's terrible.
Get knocked on
His
the head.
name is Poirot.
Torra's accent changes based on which detective he's intimating.
Hello.
Mr. Magoo.
Yeah.
Very curious case.
So yeah, what would you guys like to do?
I'd like to hide in the wardrobe and when Lothar's not looking, and then spring out at him
There
just to
is
kind
no
of brighten the mood.
wardrobe.
I would love for you to
Follow
pretend there's a
body
wardrobe in the
for
room, though.
now and do the autopsy.
Okay.
That sounds
Cool.
like a plan.
So I think you guys assist him in putting the body in the bag and head back on your own quad bike back towards the morgue. Are you all joining Amelia with this?
Oh
I-
yeah.
Cool.
I
You
want to
don't
say
have to.
yes. I think at the same time, Lothar is going to try to make his way over to wherever weapons are stored at, like an armory of some sort.
Okay, cool. I think Krolln is back on his bike and he was coming out to meet you guys because he's pretty quick. And so he kind of catches you as you're heading into the morgue. So Lothar, yeah, you wait outside for him just for a second. So Krolln explains. He says, so the last so laser weapons are quite commonly used in the hallucinarium. I've checked the logs. The last time weapons were issued was during a stealth exercise in the morning of your third day here, which Dangir and Gunnar attended. Their objective was to sneak up on a hostile target and assassinate them at close range without other targets noticing. Both of them succeeded, although obviously it doesn't really matter for one of them. The weaponry we issued for this was a small combat knife and a suppressed las pistol. The issuing system is done by a servitor who scans in the serial number of each weapon and then stores it. I've checked the log. Gunnar's weapons have been returned, and Dangir's knife and las pistol are both logged as being returned, but his las pistol, which has a serial number of JG44, is not in the storage locker, but it has been logged as returned, and I can't find it in there at all.
Ooh.
Why is this only getting flagged now after it's been used?
Well, you understand that according to our logs, it has been returned. It's only now upon checking it.
Is
Maybe
there
I was going to check earlier.
is there no inventory check?
Well, yes, it was all automated by the servitor, and that's why it seemed that it was back.
So you're telling us the servitor's in on it?
I think at this point, Lothar's going to chime in and say, "You really do not know how this all works at all,
Hey,
do you?
I
This
have
is
2
this
knives.
is absolutely
I know where
normal.
my knives are. How come you don't know where your guns are,
Listen,
huh?
Welcome to the
Torra,
Imperium.
why don't you go interrogate the servitor?
Oh, with pleasure. Come on, bud. And Torra puts his arm around the servitor and starts to walk him away.
The commissar. Yeah.
Lothar mouths thank you towards Amelia.
So, Torra, you start strong-arming this servitor, the commissar. So you give me these little mind
Torra
goblins.
signals to BGZ, and he just like closes his fist and he pumps his biceps just a little bit. And BGZ, I'm assuming, will look knowingly and organise a table to be for arm wrestling purposes.
Absolutely. BGZ is marching along with you. He's loving this. He's coming down with you to the hallucinariums. Cool. So whilst you're kind of, how are you holding this commissar? Are you like literally like hand on the shoulder, shoving it forward, or?
No, I'm interrogating the servitor.
Oh yeah, but you don't. The servitor's not with him right now. It's back in the.
Well, you keep saying commissar by accident.
Yeah, you said I grabbed the servitor. The servitor's not with him.
Oh,
The
okay.
commissar came up to tell you that the servitor has misplaced
Oh,
it.
good. Yes. Torra puts his arm around the commissar and starts walking him towards.
Perfect. So,
Don't worry, I've got some particular technique.
So he's taking you down through the scholars' grounds, and you go into the main building, past the Wall of Honor once again, and yeah, you go down into the hallucinariums. And whilst you guys are on the way there, which is going to be BGZ and Torra are on there, and Kron, I guess, are on this wild interrogator servitor trip. Meanwhile, in the morgue, yeah, so there are a couple of medical services here who are mostly used to, trying to do life-saving surgery on these guys. Obviously, a bit late for that. But yes, if you would like to perform the autopsy, please do a Medicaid roll plus 20. So this is going to represent what you find, basically, and how much. Cool. 2 degrees of success. That's decent. Thanks. Thanks.
Or Factual scrubbed up
I
as well.
Plus
drop a
20
hand.
and I get a plus 10 for my mechadendrite.
Yeah,
and all
that's
this.
fine. Perfect.
That's a decent roll. You get your rolls at 90.
Yeah.
And if
Holy
I'm allowed,
shit.
if I'm also using my medical pack, it'd be another 10. So
I feel like the mechadendrite is keeping our family away, and
That's where the bonus comes from. He's
the
like
bonuses.
he's scrubbed in. He's put a mask over his mouth breather, and he's trying to get involved. How does
Mask of
Lothar
honor.
react to this? Because the last person who was under Amelia's knife, I think, was him.
Yeah, Lothar's actually not looking at the scene. He's looking out the door. He wants nothing to do with what they're doing right now. Mm-mm.
Cool. So Dangir's body is as cold as the snow around the scholar. So he's a well-built 18-year-old male with a few scars on his now pale skin from the years of harsh training. Due to the position his head was in after death, the blood has pooled towards his upper body, leaving his head a pallid salmon pink. Strangely, there's also some of this lividity in his legs still. So the blood has pooled both in his legs and his head. So you put your Medicae skills to good use and perform the autopsy, and you discover the following. There are bruises across his legs of various sizes. I can hear the frantic typing. There are a series of smaller bruises across his forearms. They're marks suggesting something blunt has struck them.
So almost you could describe them as defensive wounds.
Yes, I would describe them as defensive wounds. There is also a large bruise across his right elbow. His front teeth have been smashed and forced back into his throat. You remember the position his head was in. You imagine that's kind of how that happened.
I don't. Can you go over it again?
So when he was found, his feet were in the bed, but his head was down on the metal floor. So it seems that as that impact hit, his front teeth basically buckled and went into his mouth.
Okay, so wait. So his head's on the bed and his feet on the floor. So he
No.
got hit backwards, and his head went onto the bed.
Yeah, so he was decapitated, and they kicked his head around a little bit and just
Okay.
threw it in around. It's not even his body.
We're looking
no.
for some Mesoamerican soccer players looking
The,
to
the,
take
D-
bets.
the DM said they, so now we know it's more than one.
Oh
Yeah.
no, you've got me.
Okay, so likely culprits is the Germany 2014 World Cup football team.
There we go.
Did we not miss in blood written on the roof? It says 7-1 just on the
Oh
ceiling.
yeah, that's the Brazil game, of course.
Oh,
Yeah, so we're looking
It's-
for an angry German insert.
it's
Yeah,
terrible.
And it happened
Well,
in
that narrows
Brazil.
it down.
Rio
God.
de Janeiro.
We're looking for
So,
Seb.
so that's not all you find. So yeah, his front teeth have been smashed and forced back into his throat. There's also a gunshot wound in his left thigh with no exit wound. The entry wound is small, about 1/2 an inch, and singed on the edges, suggesting some sort of las weapon. The trajectory of the shot coming in suggests that he was sat or kneeling, and the shot came from above him.
Execution
also-
style, baby.
On his leg, yeah. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. So there is a gunshot wound entering his left temple and exiting by the right. So similarly to the shot on his leg, the entry wound is likely caused by a las weapon with the singe. This one has a distinct circular burn around the wound, suggesting the barrel of the weapon was in contact with his skin when it was fired. The trajectory of the shot is almost perfectly horizontal, going through one temple and out the other. Now, with 2 degrees of success, Amelia, when you reach your mechadendrite into his mouth to locate his smashed teeth, you realise that the soft palate at the back of his mouth is burned away. You probe deeper and find a scorched hole about 1/2 an inch in diameter running up into his brain. This is likely another wound fired up through his mouth.
Fired up through his
When
mouth.
Amy uses her mechadendrite down his throat,
To make it look like a
finds a
suicide. Oh
small
shit.
entry
Burned
wound.
Firing up the throat, basically.
So, like,
if I'm understanding you correctly.
hypothetically, so it's like he's put a pistol in his mouth, fired up.
Yeah, and it's gone vertical up through in your mouth, right at the back of where the soft palate starts. It's basically up through there into the back of his brain, but there's no exit wound from this one.
Oh, okay. But so back of his mouth, not throat.
Yeah.
Now, is the angle like is it like straight up, or is it more like diagonal back towards the back
You
of
had
the
me.
head?
You had me thinking fucking aliens inside of him or something for a moment there.
There's no aliens inside of him as far
There
as you
is.
can
There's
tell.
a
from the
Martian
autopsy.
inside his
Oh
mouth
my God.
right now.
Yeah. So the angle, I'd say, yeah, it's not like vertical up through the mouth. It is at an angle.
So what my impression then? It's not someone has held a gun, put it in his mouth. He wasn't holding the gun, putting it in his mouth. It was pushed into his mouth, hence the angle.
No, well, either way, either someone pushed it at an angle where it has gone up into his brain, or he held it at an angle where it went up into his brain. It's impossible to tell the intent.
I mean, if it was he who did it to himself. Like all the rest of the wounds make no sense. So.
But that's what Dandy wants. Oh no, I'm not there. Never mind.
You're not there. You're currently
Interrogating a
strong arming
search
your
for-
I
commissar.
mean, that would literally just be a like how this shot in the side of the head wouldn't like. I guess that would be the question. Which shot seems to be killing?
You are not
the
sure.
one in the mouth or the one across? I would think
So
the one
there's
across.
two shots that could
to
have
the
killed him.
brain,
Really,
yeah.
the leg shot probably wouldn't have unless he bled to death. But the horizontal shot across his temple, or the high angle one up through his mouth.
So, we get the impression that the order the wounds happened at least was the leg wound was first because that blood was more dry. Because there's dry
So
blood on
you
the
have no
feet
way of
already.
telling.
You don't know where these wounds were. So there were 2 pools of blood, one in the center of the room and one over by the desk. There was 3 gunshot wounds total. One on his leg seemed to have been fired at him when he was in a kneeling or sitting position. There was another one which seems to have been a contact shot in his temple, coming out the other side. And then there was the vertical one through his mouth.
One in his 3 wounds. One in his
I
leg.
guess I'm just saying we can't rule out
One in
that
his
the
temple.
final shot
and
wasn't
one in
himself with
his-
that, but at the same time something still attacked him. I can't imagine him doing all that stuff to himself.
It'd be very impressive if he shot himself in the mouth and also through the temple.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If the
Yeah.
one didn't work and then he tried a different angle. But
We
why
would have
you
also
shoot
found the
yourself
weapon,
in
though,
leg
too.
first?
Oh God, Warwick! I have a piece of no, sorry. Remind me, I have an amazing piece of Australiana that you need to watch.
Or someone tried to kill
I
him
shall
and
later.
it didn't fully kill him and he just ended it. That's the other option too.
Left himself
Or-
to that, but we would have still found the weapon.
Yeah, or so. Well, yeah.
Because why would they come back to the scene of crime, right? So
Speaking of weapons, let's cut to BGZ and Torra's excellent adventure down towards the hilly side. So, you get down there. It is basically a small booth with this servitor wired into it. There is a kind of dish ahead of it where it scans in the serial codes and then withdraws it. I think Kroll takes out his bolt pistol from his holster to demonstrate, holds it up against the servitor who scans it with a soft mechanical beep, and then picks it up, moves over to the weapons rack and stores it behind him. Kroll then says, Commissar Kroll, bolt gun. Oh, sorry, bolt pistol. That'd be embarrassing, he says, winking to you. And then the servitor takes the bolt pistol, scans it out, and brings it back to him.
Does the servitor have internal logs?
Yes. Would you like me to fetch them for you?
If you can narrow it down to who was the last person to drop off the JG-44, and maybe actually anything to do with Dandy's logs.
Dang it. Okay, yes. He then sort of unlocks the door behind the servitor, goes round, and you see
So
him plug...
the commissar's walked out of the room.
Yes.
Okay, Torra slaps the servitor and
Okay.
says, "Tell us what we need to know."
BGZ does the same. You hear him slap and then says something in binary that you are unable to understand.
No, because we're gonna do this bad Arbitrace, even worse Arbitrace. So we slap him, and then I'm gonna offer him a cigarette, and then you're gonna punch him in the face, okay?
BGZ
It's
nods.
in front of the servitor, all in front of the servitor.
Yes, of course.
So if BGG goes for the slap, Torra goes, no, it's too much. Oh, look, buddy, my partner here, he's a loose hand, he's a loose bolt pistol. He's crazy, man, he's crazy. Here, do you want a cigarette? And he pulls it. Oh, actually, what is it now? It
Listen.
is a 1 in 7.
1 in 7 chance.
oh, right.
So
Roll 1d7. If it's a 1, it explodes.
Phew.
They're good.
So you try and offer a cigarette to the servitor. Its mouth has been replaced by a sort of automated Vox feeding system.
Sticks it over, just
stick it
kind
into
of rests it gently.
You stick it into the air filter, and by this time,
Light
Kron
it.
has entered the room. and you see he has attached. You like it? Okay. You see he has attached a. Basically, he's interfaced with the observatory. He's attached a wire from the back of it into his data slate, and he's downloading some logs. I mean, he sniffs and goes, "Are you smoking?"
We're just talking to the client here.
Right. Okay. And he safely removes the hardware, exits the room once more, and begins making his way back towards you.
Now, where's the gun, Scapoli? Come on, tell us, where's the gun, Scapoli?
You hear BGZ rack the slide on his radium carbine behind you.
PGZ starts quoting what's the piece of Mechanicum scripture called?
Oh god, there's a lot.
It's the Terminator movies, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
The Quran.
Yes. Oh
Bible.
yeah.
The BTC, instead of the path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the inequalities of the selfish and tyranny of evil men.
He starts blaring it out in binary. I'm not sure what he's saying.
Blessed is he, in the name of charity and goodwill, shepherds the weak through the valley of the darkness.
Come on,
he's his brother's keeper.
Yeah.
That's about 3 different books in the Bible,
You've
but you
merged
got the
them all
spirit of it.
together.
It's not. It's Ezekiel. It's Ezekiel 25:17.
Oh man, good year.
My favourite time. Anyway, speaking of time, the commissar opens the door again to see you. Well, BGZ quickly reholstering his radium carbine, and he kind of looks to the commissar with a kind of soulless glare from within his helmet. The commissar seems a little bit perturbed by this. Does not react further. He says, "Well, I've got the logs here, Torra and Skitari. As I
His name
said,
is Pagaz, and I would appreciate it if you spoke to him that same way.
my apologies.
You offer Deputy Pagaz here the same respect you give me in my badge.
Very well. Sorry, are you quoting as if he was a black cop? Is what you're trying to do? Oh god.
BGZ lives matter.
Yeah.
Skitari lives matter.
Oh god. So
BLM.
oh,
BGZ's life matters.
it does, and he swiftly corrects himself and says, "Well, apologies, Figures and Torah." So I've looked over the logs, and yes, the last weapons returned here were those ones I mentioned. There was a combat knife issued to both Gunnar and Dangir, and also a cut down las pistol. Both of these have been returned according to this log, but as far as I can tell, there is no return of the actual.
So it was Gunnar's and Dandir's combat knives, and Dandir's cut down.
According to the logs, all weapons have been returned.
But the ones that have been returned that are missing are two combat knives.
No. So all the combat knives are back. Gunnar's pistol's back. Dangir's pistol is not back, but it says it is.
Okay, so the last weapons that were returned were Gunnar's knife and combat pistol, and Dandir's is missing.
Yes. Although, from the surface's perspective and from the scholar's perspective, it has all been returned.
Was returned and missing. Who has access to this area? And also, what's the likelihood of someone sneaking in and acquiring weaponry?
Low. You remember that he unlocked the door to come in. It's only ever unlocked during training sessions that weaponry could be returned. But I mean, the people who have access to it are all us tutors. But I'm sure you're aware none of us have anything to do with this.
I'm going to need a copy of that key to continue my investigation.
Very well, I'll have one sent to your room.
Excellent. If you can also, because I'm just really clearly too busy and too important to write down pieces of information or read things off a piece of paper, could you just write down a list of people who have this key already?
Yes, very well.
Torra offers him one of his fudder-up crayons.
He
the back end of probably the Fuddruck like eating mat.
Yeah,
I think that's the only paper he'd have on him.
fair enough.
Oh yeah, no, I do. Yeah, Fuddruck colouring in sheets are still on my character sheet.
There we go. So the people who have access to this room are Drill Abbot Hagen, Commissar Idris Krohn, Sergeant Major Urson Veld, Master Linvar de Corbet, and Almaness Advance Lucille Baynard, which are all the shooters who are the heads of their respective departments.
Those who had access to keys are... Cool. Interesting.
Are they also the ones responsible for returning the weapons?
No, so the weapons are returned by the students at the end of each thing, basically.
It was done on an honor system.
You
Well, no,
don't...
so they scan them in, basically, and then they leave. But it seems that it's
Okay.
been scanned in but not collected by the servitor.
There's nothing in place at all to flag this.
It seems
That sounds so stupid.
well,
I
no system's
would
perfect.
like to test a theory. If you
Perfect.
wouldn't, if you wouldn't mind, Torra is going to. Wait, can I borrow your bolt pistol for a moment?
Yes, be careful with it.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to use some of that 20-foot cable I have. That one end still has a crushed tin can on it, and tie it.
It's coming again. Yeah.
Yay!
And tie the end of the cable around the bolt pistol,
Okay.
making sure that the safety is on.
Good idea.
It's like, if you could get the servitor to return the bolt pistol, please.
Very well. And then are you handing the bolt pistol back to him?
I'm handing the bolt pistol back to him, but like slow, like spooling out
Yeah.
the cable as it goes.
Perfect. So he grabs the bolt pistol from you. He offers it out to the slot. The servitor scans it and takes it in his sort of cargo little grippy hands. He's like a T-Rex, and then drifts back on his little tracks and heads over to the shelf where it would be stored.
When he puts it on the shelf and comes back, Torra's going to try to yank on the cable to try to pull the gun back
Like
to
a
the
quarter
front.
on a string.
You do so successfully. It rattles against the floor, and obviously it's heavy and does have ammunition in it, so it takes a bit of pulling, but the string is solid, and you're able to maneuver it back into the slot. Essentially, the servitor's head bends down as it tries to read the automated ID again. Then Kroll grabs it before it can do so.
Now, Kroll, if you could ask the servitor to retrieve your weapon, it will think it's still in the storage.
There's servitor, one bolt pistol for Commissar Kroll. The servitor heads over to the shelf where it once was, reaches over to where the grip would be, takes it, turns back around, and deposits it within the slot.
I will be frank with you, Commissar. Your system's fucked, cunt.
He scratches his brow with his hand. Well, we didn't expect for this to happen. So, what do you think's happened? Someone's returned a weapon and then got it back again. They must have done it at the end of one of their lessons.
It's not like you guys do an inventory check or anything like that, which seems
Well,
just
it's all
wildly
automated.
inappropriate. Yeah, but you fucking... Yeah, great, good job. Your system's automated, a gun's gone missing, and someone's dead, bud.
How frequently do you expect us to do these inventory checks? This happens.
I don't think so much an inventory check, but you have obviously a system in place, which is students signing in guns, then it's being able to take the guns away anyway. That's a massive flaw.
Does seem to be. Fucking Ofsted on the field though with the scholar. I'm just saying.
Torra's gonna draw like a little star next to Kroll's name on his piece of paper.
Does Kroll see you do this?
Fuck yeah, of course he does. Actually, no. Torra's going to. Can I roll a deception check to make
I think
it
it's
seem like
sleight of hand. So what are you trying to do? Perfect, you pass it.
So what Torra is trying to do is make it seem like he's trying to hide the fact that he's drawing the symbol next to his name on his piece of paper, but he's actually secretly showing him that he's drawing a symbol on the side of his paper, just to unnerve him just that little bit.
So I'll point out, so sleight of hand has so far been used for stealing back some business cards from Quintessential. It has been used for making origami, and it has also now been used to convince a commissar.
That he's on a list.
Yeah,
Not to mention taking a tablet away from our Inquisitor.
Oh yeah.
Snatch it out of his hand.
I did, and you said what did you give me? You gave me a -30.
Yeah,
or something like that.
He did
And I did it. Torra, master criminal. I don't care what you say, Truck. Master
Until
criminal.
it matters, that's when you're gonna fail.
So
Yeah, that's fair.
So Krone,
Hey, who disarmed the big bad from the last story arc? Just fucked up the DM's day.
So Krone sees you have done this. He sees lips thin slightly.
I
Says,
can't believe you've done this.
What does that mark mean?
Pardon?
The mark. What does it mean?
Do I come into your workplace and smack the dick out of your mouth and tell you how to do your job?
Well, no. Well, you have just insulted the whole system of weapons management that the scholar has. So in a way, I suppose. Less phallic, but yes.
I feel like the death of one of your students in a murder, rather than just the usual of them being shit, is sort of a damning indictment of your whole fucking system.
You see
Also,
him.
that's the longest word Torra's ever used.
That's true. You see him straighten up a bit, tense. Says, "I suppose we should be going back to the morgue now."
Yeah, I suppose we should. Would you like your gun back?
Yes.
Torra hands it to him, but keeps the string on it. What are the chances he doesn't see?
Hey, make a deception roll for me, please.
I'm gonna hate this so much if you nail it. I'm gonna hate it.
Oh, come on! Let's see.
Oh god.
Oh,
Ah.
oh well.
Oh.
Do you want to
Had
fate that?
some greatness. It's okay.
Do you want to fate it? Do you want to fate it? Do you want to fate it?
No, I've only got 2 fate points. It's an investigation episode. I'm gonna need it to just cheat awareness tests.
So Troll easily undoes the string around it and hands it back to you. Says, "Oh well, hold on to this," he says as he holsters his bolt pistol once more.
Torra puts the tin can back in one of his like upper vest holsters.
Lovely. Oh God's sake.
Hear it crunching as he folds it to fit.
BGZ says something that you don't understand, but he gives you a thumbs up as you walk out of the armorium and head up to back towards the morgue.
I could go for a donut too.
So what BGZ said was, "Nice one, Chief." He's clearly been watching.
Torra doesn't know that.
No. I mean, BGZ thinks that he can understand binary. That's why he's still been saying it.
Oh my fucking god.
We've established this.
I thought BGZ thought he didn't understood binary, but it was just having fun either way.
No. He thought that BGZ thinks that only a few people can understand binary, which is Amelia and also Torra, but only Amelia will speak it to him. Because you've convinced him in the past that you can understand what he's saying.
Yes.
I'm consistent with my nonsense.
Oh,
I love it.
Oh dear. So yeah, you head back up towards the morgue with Krone and BGZ in tow. Back in the morgue, pretty much wrapped up. What's going on?
Are you guys done?
We've Deputy Pickers here is a straight, upstanding citizen. Well, we've done some investigating.
Oh no, I didn't. Sorry, I know I was facing you guys. I meant he jerks a thumb over like his shoulders. I meant them.
Yeah,
But
Amelia's
good.
washing up, I guess.
Rinsing the mechadendrites in the sink.
Imagine you put it in one of those like oh god, like
I
a
was
mop.
gonna say, she slaps a bloody hand on your shoulder, but
Oh
like a
god.
she would clean
spinny
up.
bucket for a mop.
Yeah.
So what you do, you stick the mechadendrite in one of those spinny buckets, and you just like press the foot pedal a couple times. And
who would know know the most about students?
Probably the
More personal. Actually, no. Who's the guy that teaches religion?
So you've technically got two. So you've got Almanes Lucille Baynard, who is the medicine, faith, and mental purity, and then you've also got Drill Abbot Denzo Hagen, who
Because I just have a quick question about Dengear there. Would even Kral know just general about them, or not really?
He would have an understanding. He has taught them for about a year now.
The other thing, what was it? Has everyone been informed at this point, or are people still going about their day?
People are still in lesson.
So they don't know.
Good.
That's probably a good thing.
That's where family is, and he's still in the
But yes, I guess I just asked to Crawl. So I was curious, just a thought that crossed my mind, may go nowhere. Dengear, how was he on religion? Did he follow the normal faith to its standards, or was he, as described in the class, somewhat different, such as perhaps myself?
He was acceptable. He was a proud member of the Imperial Truth, but lacked the zeal of someone like Jerome.
He lacked the zeal, but he didn't have any different interpretations or anything of this.
It was very, very by the book.
So
just internal, like I just ask that sort of takes that
you
one
have his
lady
notebook.
off my mind.
When you have a look at his notebook, you realise he's underlined a few sections from some psalms that he's been studying in there, from his faith lessons on the value of perseverance in the eyes of the Empress. There are certain sections that he has underlined. So he seems to be, pretty studious with it, but it's more of like a personal thing than he's getting out there and preaching.
Yeah, no, because what I'm just getting at is the Jerome lady there.
Yes.
Not liking people, not following the correct interpretation, and blah blah blah. Yes. That if he was perhaps
a target because of different beliefs.
Yes, because of differing interpretations.
Doesn't seem to be so. I mean, you haven't spoken to the students directly about Dengear, and Kron obviously has a very limited perspective as a tutor.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be a bit on the nose to just go to each student and be like, "So, what do you think of Dengear?"
Yeah, where is that guy?
No reason.
Just asking for
just curious.
Yeah.
I have a weird out of character question with this. I will. Do the other 9 students, do these all 10, obviously not Dengear because he's, not with us anymore. Yeah. But do the other students know that are they aware of the other members of the pool of them that are being selected right now? So does Jerem know, does Falm know that the 2 of them are both potentially being selected?
Yeah, so they've all been made aware. They've also, some of them have been in similar classes before. The classes are rotated quite a bit, but all of them have had lessons with each other at some point. It might have been in years previous, or it might be currently. Generally, they would have all worked together on stuff like combat exercises and that sort of thing.
Gotcha. So they're aware that they're potentially being
picking.
Yeah, if you say, "Oh, Danger's dead," and they go, "Who?" That's probably not going to happen as much.
Fair. No, I meant more like
so
if they're aware that they are in competition with one another right now.
I think there was an understanding of it. Yes, I mean, you spoke to Jackson, who said they're all, some people just want to leave, other people want to serve the Emperor, but he's very much like just doesn't give a shit and just wants to leave. So they've been made aware who you guys are.
Gotcha.
What you're here for, and what they're there for.
Gotcha. Okay. I guess Lothar, as you guys are coming back up, then in general, I would ask like what you guys came up with the servitor over at the armory there.
We have identified a security flaw in the scholars' weapons requisition system, which shall be rectified.
No, duh.
I'm sorry, a what?
A flaw.
Right. Okay. Great. Good start. So first, I have to back my head up here for a second. So, as far as the information of them being in this stealth class previously, that's something that was described to all of us, or was that with Torra earlier?
That was mentioned to all of you, and then when he actually pulled the log, it said the same information of both of them returned.
Okay, I just want to double check for my head.
No.
So you had mentioned the stealth class before. Who was teaching the class?
The class. Let me think. So the class, I believe I said, was taught by Veld, who is the guardsman, who teaches marksmanship, survival, and physical fitness. The hallucinarium stuff is a little bit more hands-off, because it's kind of like you just kind of sit on the observation deck and watch them tripping balls, each in their own cells, but observe them from that kind of distance. Unlike the marksmanship stuff where he was there right next to them.
Gotcha. So this was over the hallucinarium then?
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. And you said you guys you'd found a flaw, but if I know anything, the Imperium is very well known for having fail-safes upon fail-safes for everything. Is there any kind of pict or vid feed for the armory that we could take a look at?
He has a thing. He thinks, I think there should be one of the door outside of it. There's I don't believe there's one on the inside, but there is one for the corridor adjacent, so we can see who has entered and who has exited the room, and if they're carrying anything.
Sure. Okay. Gotcha. And all right. I don't very much know about the servitor thing. Honestly, this might be something better served for me to ask Amelia about. But Torra, you were down there before. Does that servitor have any kind of like eyes or anything where it can record who it sees or anything like that when it makes a log?
I've got. Didn't ask that question. I do have the log though.
You've got the log of its basically its catalogue of its serial stuff. It did have eyes. Whether it was recording a vid feed or stuff, you're not sure.
Gotcha. Okay. If there's any way for us to kind of get into that as well, I mean,
Prone nods as well. I'll see what I can do, but again, I'm not technically minded myself, so I have to get a specialist in.
Gotcha. When's the last time there's a specialist in for stuff like that?
As in, Amelia is what I mean. We do have some resident tech adepts, but I'm a commissar. I'm not exactly keen to shove my fists halfway into a servitor's brain.
I don't think I would want to ask you to do that either, actually. So fair.
Is it USB-C?
It's E, actually. As he pulls out his data slate, it's got a little cord in it, and it's a tiny little Aquila-shaped USB stick in the end.
Imagine BGC is pissed because it's actually an
Absolutely.
O, but they call it an E. Just do it.
Yeah. So you can't get this one upside down, he says as he waggles it. And it retracts with a satisfying back into his data slate.
Gotcha. Okay. And I'm just gonna. Lothar's gonna look down over to the side, trying to angling his voice over his shoulder, and say, Are you guys through back there? Hello. No, not you. I meant the Millionaire family. Is he away?
I think the body's still on the table.
Yeah, he's still on the table all over and stuff.
Is there? I mean, could you dress him up a little bit? Or
I put a hand on your shoulder.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and he's gonna pat his shoulder. That's awesome.
Body is there.
I do the side with the
Sure it is.
Yeah.
I
the side of the cog, but kind of sarcastically.
Yeah. I'm going to turn to Luthor and say, Luthor.
Naruto religion symbols at each other.
Gotcha. And then Luthor very quickly could do a side of the clone. Like, yeah, haha, great. It's great. Can we leave the room then and continue to the hallucinarium, the hallucinatorium? What was it?
Luthor, it's rude to talk about the dead like that. It's really, really rude.
Yeah, can't imagine why that. Well, can't imagine where you learned that one from. Right, let's go to the place I can forget about this one. And Lothar's going to start walking in a direction.
Cool. Kron quickly redirects him back into the main scholar building instead of out into the
fair.
ice waste to die. And you will
Damn.
head down towards the hallucinarium where there is the small armory for the servitor, and there's some stairs basically going up. Imagine it like a series of VR rooms with like a revolving. Imagine it like a holodeck basically, but lots of smaller cells that would allow you to spectate from an observation platform. But instead of it being done with VR and kind of thing, it's kind of done through drugs and simulated gunshots and that sort of thing. So yeah, where would you like to go? Would you like to go into the armory with the servitor, or would you like to go upstairs into the observation deck? There's also like the student's entrance to actually go into the cells.
Fair question. Actually, I'll be honest with you. I didn't think we were going to go this far. I haven't planned this far ahead in my head. I think my hope was that
Same.
we would somehow run into Veld while he was over there, but I don't think
he's not necessarily teaching there right now. That lesson was yesterday.
That is true. Damn, scheduling sucks. Right. Out of curiosity, Commissar, where would Veld be at this given moment?
He quickly pulls out his data slate and checks through. He says, I believe he'll be teaching basic weapon maintenance to first years right now, which is in the main building. It's a little walk away.
Gotcha. Okay. Maybe we could try and catch him mid classes or after classes there then. So nobody knows about this yet, correct? Other than yourself and
me,
I would imagine.
And well, you all. I've not informed the other tutors yet.
Gotcha. Okay. That seems like best case scenario then. I guess Luther's going to turn the group go. So what should we do now? I mean, I'm going to be honest. This kind of outstrips my training as a guardsman, so I'm not really sure where to go here next.
Don't worry, I'll deputize you.
I don't like the sound of that.
I like the idea he has like a fake plastic sheriff star in his jacket pocket.
It says Fudder Rock's Law King.
Deputy spelled wrong.
Yeah.
Thanks, but this does not tell me where we should go next. I mean, think.
Wank, wank, wank.
That's an obvious answer. We go to wherever the killer is.
That's smart.
I like the way you think.
So,
I mean,
first of all, what do you have to do? You have to find out a place where killers go, and then we go there.
So a scholar progenium.
Good, we're here already.
It might be useful to talk about what you guys think has happened, and what you can do to work out what you don't know.
Well, I think someone's been murdered.
I think so too.
I have an idea.
Go ahead.
Though it's a little like it could work, or maybe not. We can recreate this scenario.
So we kill another child.
In the hallucinarium. No, what? In the hallucinarium, we recreate this scenario, and we put the students through it. Now we don't make it Gangear. We just make it, whatever. But the person who did it would recognize the scene, and there should be signs, accelerated heart rate, etc. Unless they're capable of hiding such things.
I like the way you think.
However, they may pass that test, or it may not be one of the students, but it would give us some data.
It would. At the same time, we don't want to alert them to this either. We want them to be kind of primed as though we were normally following their schedules anyway.
But we've been wanting to test them anyway. Why would they? What would they think?
So what would the test be? So they go into a room and what happens?
Well, it'd be more than just. It'd be maybe they need to take out a target and so on. But just the final room looks identical to one of the barracks, I suppose, just to trip up the person who hit it if it happens to be them, trying to catch them off guard.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's a, I don't know, let's say like a 60% chance of success, because these are people being trained. They may very well be able to conceal their emotions and so on as they go through something like that.
You have any truth serum?
I don't think that's a thing.
I could whip up a batch of serum
I
anytime you need.
It's a
I'm always loaded.
Lothar's going to take a half step back from you.
We don't have any sort of magical potion that could force people to tell the truth, but we do have torture chambers, if that's what you would use.
Wait.
That's
magical. That's very close to heresy right there.
now.
No, that's what I mean. Like, we don't have any of that sort of stuff here, but if we want the truth, we can acquire the truth.
Oh, okay.
What
Easy
if the truth didn't come with attachments to hold it, and we weren't able to what's the expression? What if we couldn't? No, what if we couldn't handle said truth?
Well, I can handle the truth. I think we all
can. Can you handle the truth?
I can handle the truth.
Can you
the imperial truth? He says, and he smiles weakly at Samuel.
And Torra throws a gang sign. That's actually the it throws a gang sign. That's the sign of the Aquila.
I'll just say that. If I go along with my thought there, then the entire program should involve, maybe some sort of shootout, some infiltrate, stuff to get them off guard and think about other things, and then boom, hit them with the roam at the end, and see how they react.
I want that.
The Jemya Falak.
Yes.
What the fuck's the Jemya Falak?
It is a lore-friendly, aka canon creature.
I just on Lexicanum. The Dejanum Falak is a rare type of rare creature found in the galaxy. A type of strange and repulsive cephalopod. For many years, it was believed to be a warp entity. It's bred through the galaxy by breeding in the liquid that flows through the cooling lamps of plasma drives. When placed on the head, a phallic will inject neurotoxins into its victim. The toxins will rot its victim's brain over time, but initially acts as a psychoactive drug that makes it a potent truth serum. Wow. I did not know. I'm going to say truth serums exist, obviously, but unreliable, and also don't really have them on the Scholar. They're quite rare.
Okay.
But
I want a Gemma Phalak though, Mr.
The Ipcrest has one, probably in a box. That lady looks.
I would say, can I breed the spiders I have on the ship? What am I doing in Torra? Can I breed the spiders I have on the ship with this cephalopod, so I can have truth serum knives and I stab people and they have to tell me the truth?
You could certainly try.
Ouch!
You're the worst Wonder Woman.
I'm really scared.
I still think that cephalopods and spiders though even have similar to mating habits.
Wow. Amelia's a bio-magus.
Yeah.
Fish come from eggs?
Not everything is compatible.
Demja phallic with spider. Ask Amy.
Right. So
reminding you that Amelia has snake fangs.
That's true.
Oh yeah.
Could he put the venom and Amelia would bite people like some creepy Vampire the Masquerade waifu?
But it makes them tell the truth.
I have antiseptic or whatever. What is it called in there?
Antibiotics?
No, like anesthesia.
Like antivenom or
Oh no, I've been bit by a snake. Amelia, bite my butt. Instead of sucking the poison out, just push the antivenom in.
It was literally a precautionary thing so that I'd always have some to use on hand without.
But with your low bite strength, you'd have to do it like Blackula, right? It's like scratch and look, scratch and look.
Oh my freaking god!
Let's take a brief pause for a second whilst we work out what to do, and I head to the toilet.
Okay.
I also need to go to the toilet. I'm drinking a lot of water right now.
Piss break.
Just for those who are unfamiliar with Blackula.
It's beautiful. Here's my thought with this. I like the idea of having them come across that scene. I think like out of character, maybe a little bit in character, we would want to induce some mental fatigue in them in order to do that,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Like
what I'm
that's how
saying.
it.
The mission wouldn't just be that; it would be more than that.
Right. I'm thinking that we have them do continuous training, right? So like having them do like a 24 to 48 hour thing, and
The
then
longer we
that's the
wait,
training.
the more chance they hear what happened too.
True, not if they're in training the whole damn time. So
You never know who they're passing by.
that's true. I don't know. At the same time, a part of me is thinking like, what if they, in continuing to kind of give this impression like, oh, we're not aware of it or things like that, which I imagine they had to have seen us over by his barrack, but at the same time, um, what if we were to just conduct general interviews with each of them, at what their impressions are of their fellow classmates, and then reading what that is to give us a gist of who might have motive, which they all have some base motive, but like it seems like this person who did this, like A, tried to hide it, B, um, was like livid with him, and like see like went way over the top for a messy scene at the same time here too. I don't know.
God, I forgot how good the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy were.
They're amazing. I don't know. I like the idea though. I like having them potentially being
breathing in the
confronted with
liquid
that.
that flows from the cooling loops of plasma drives.
Like a part of me almost thinks like if we do that, we have to have like active recordings and stuff like that while they're while they're going through this hallucinarium testing thing. I don't know. That way we can review the footage afterwards and see if like it'll be a matter of time for us to pick up on that
it
shit.
just seems strange to me that like I should have asked that that the armory doesn't have like a picked recorder or something like that in it.
Yeah, that seems odd to me.
It might. We don't know.
But there's also it feels strange that like first the people who have access to any of these servitors normally are the teachers, right? So, and if they're not picking up the log, it also might indicate that the log has been tampered with. Which the only person I could think that would be doing that shit would be whatever his name is, who's really good with the tech shit. Mune?
Fucking, sorry, as an aside, just before I forget, this film I watched yesterday morning at Kick-Ons. It was a wild fucking time.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Like emotionally a lot?
No, it's just a lot. It's very Australian.
Yeah.
Man just goes on a 5-day bender.
Let's see here. Film adaptation. Da-da-da.
Apparently, the OTK guys, Ms. Kiv and these other streamers are at G4 today. Adam
really?
Sessler and whatnot. They're all hanging out doing.
Oh, actually, I'm gonna go get some breakfast. Actually, Warwick's back. Warwick, my dearest.
What, sorry?
A favour.
What do you want?
When you get a moment, do you want to give me the stats for the bolt pistol that Torra looted from the 2 sessions ago?
What bolt pistol?
The bolt pistol I took from, as we were leaving, from one of the adapter Serratas. As we were leaving the...
Oh, sorry, I thought you meant the one you stole from fucking...
No.
On the string.
You gave that back? So you took the bolt pistol, right?
Yeah.
Perfect, let me just pull this up. Just give me a second.
Also, I just want to check in my head. So currently, Torra weaponry-wise has the revolver with silencer, the compact revolver, the bowlers, and the bolt pistol, 2 machetes, an arc maul, and Little Scythe Junior.
Right, I'm going to tell you,
I
you
can.
can't carry all of these at once.
That was my second question.
Yeah. At most, 2 short pistols, and at most 2 short melee
Well,
weapons.
my compact revolver is the ankle mounted one.
Yeah, okay, discount that one, but yeah.
Also, how much ammo should I have in them by default? Because I don't think I've added ammo back to them.
So default, so 1 full magazine and then 2 spare. Or clips,
So,
or whatever.
but yeah, so I've got clip 3 of 36, so it should be at 6 of 36.
6 out of 36, yes. So, oh no, 6 out of 18. It depends how
6
you
out of-
want to track it, basically.
Okay,
You've
so
got 6 in the chamber, or in the cylinder rather, and 2 speed loaders just rattling around in your pocket. So
maybe I do that then. So I'll do 6 and 3. You say?
Yes.
Cool.
It depends. I like the old style, old school FPS thing, where instead of it being a total ammo pool, it is remaining magazines.
Okay,
So
well,
that's how I like to track it, but feel free to change it as needed, as long as it's the right amount.
I'll try. Look. You're the Führer. I'll do what you want me to do.
Yeah, well. And speaking of,
Had that on record.
nice. So the bolt pistol, if you want to.
Oh, yeah. Is it perhaps family bolt, class pistol, range 30, rate of fire S2, damage 1d10 plus 5, pen 4, clip 8, reload full, special qualities tearing, weight 3.5 kilos?
That is correct.
Okay.
Then why the hell did you ask him to read up the fucking stats?
I just wanted to make him suffer.
Yeah.
No, I opened up my D2 quick
You
reference
guys are
guide
back,
to
so
try to
that-
find
Welcome back.
how much was in the compact pistol, but it's already here.
Perfect. Great. Are we all back?
I think I don't know if Tracker's still here yet.
sorry.
I've not been here.
Give me 7 seconds. I'm just going to grab my breakfast.
Okay. Time has started. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and he's booted from the game.
Damn.
So, John, if you'd like to step in with
Aww.
you got your character sheet all here.
I flip a coin that slowly disappears in the thin air.
Oh, disappears like what's it? Who's the guy from the Marvel films?
Yuri Geller.
That's him. It disappears like Yuri Geller at the end of Age of Ultron.
I don't feel so good. Here's a spoon.
He just bends into himself and vanishes. Oh dear. This has been a really interesting adventure because it's like you've just had a super combat heavy session that is the build up of literally like over a year's worth of playing,
And
now
your
we're in
big
a
boss didn't do anything.
She's not a combat boss. The boss was the fucking shit. But yeah,
Goddamn
so
right.
you've done weird job interviews and you've done. Now you're doing a murder mystery.
I can't wait for the epilogue session where Torra and BGZ go off to form their own like detective agency.
Yeah, that's the epilogue session we'll do,
Hell yeah.
which is BGZ and Torra's crimes and horrors.
It's a time skip 15 years later.
Yeah,
And we got to get the gang back together again
yeah.
because this demon that's fucking haunting us has come back again after we defeat it before.
Oh my god.
And the order of product. Oh, it's actually a team up. We go with Willem, and it's like the old versions of our characters and the new versions of our characters team up. Imagine that, Warwick. Combat session with 8 player characters.
Oh, I can think of nothing that would bring me more joy. I'm getting a stiffy just thinking about having to track 8 different things after having to track a whole ship worth of combat, including 3 separate allied fire teams that were moving through rooms at the same rate as you guys doing them.
I could have just made that up though.
I could have, but it's not the same.
I know.
And here's the thing: actions you guys did affected what happened downstairs.
Are you talking about the melt-a-bomb thing we did? And fucking thing? Yeah.
There's a really
Was that a
interesting...
good thing or a bad thing?
What's the difference?
The
If it helps
difference
us or
is
not.
who's right.
Well,
Yeah, America.
you guys survived. Let's just say that much.
The Alexandrian has a really interesting write-up on how you do, like in this remix that I'm reading through for the game I'm running. There's a couple that you like heist into the villain's lair or something like that, and there's a term he uses, like called an adversary roster or something like that.
Oh right.
About how you organize like those multi faceted things.
Sounds like I'm gonna have to go and start
Yeah.
asking Alexandria.
Here we go.
I know that wasn't very funny.
Like a lot of what this dude writes
That's
about
great.
is way too intense for me. But it's about how like running multi-location areas and like having it and being able to like do it super quick.
So what I did with this is I'm going to keep this in because it's quite interesting, I think. So what I did with the Battle of the Venator Magna is I had the deck you guys were on, and also I think about 5 sub decks below it, which is obviously not the whole fucking ship, but basic description of the rooms and where the fire teams were, what they were to counter in those. And this was affected by stuff like the rate you guys were moving through rooms. If you cut off certain things like the elevator, what would happen, because that cuts out a route.
Did we delay our allies joining us by blowing up the elevator?
Let's put it this way: if you didn't blow up the elevator, there might have been more surviving.
Yeah, you killed Jewel, Critter.
Yeah, Critter.
That wasn't my call.
You put the melter bomb in there.
I don't think I did. I'm pretty sure that was you guys, but I'll have to go look.
Definitely Torra, I think.
I think it was Torra, because you guys were like, "Oh, we should blow it up," and they were like, "Oh, there's bad guys down there." I was like, "Well, we should."
I know. I can remember who said blow it up. I can also remember that person that said that did not lead the bomb.
Yeah, it was 2 different people. You're right.
Anyway,
that's the true mystery.
Enough about other games and also
we missed
other
Jewel,
sessions
man.
within this.
Also, cold chicken parma, best breakfast. Breakfast of champions.
Oh, delicious. So, you're in the morgue. Oh no, sorry, you're in the hallucinarium. What's the plan? What are we doing? Who are we telling? Who are we murdering?
Lothar had the best plan.
I'm
tweeting.
I can't remember what my plan was. What was my plan?
The conversation we had just after Warwick left.
Oh, right. Well, because, Warwick wasn't here for it. We talked about potentially playing it out like we are none the wiser about what happened. B, that we go through and just generally interview each of the candidates and ask them about themselves, and then also ask them about all the other candidates as if we would normally, and to mentally fatigue them to help with Amelia's idea, which was to have them go through the hallucinarium with that mental fatigue on top of it and record it at the same time for when they hit that final room to see what their reactions are, so that we can then look at the recording after the fact and we can actually pinpoint. It'll just be a matter of time of pinpointing, like if somebody had an emotional reaction to that scene, that might give us an idea psychologically what's going on with them.
Okay, that's an interesting one.
So, to be fair, Amelia did the heavy lifting on that one. That wasn't me.
I like the idea of interviewing them, and so you're going to try and act like you don't know that Dangers died.
Right.
Okay.
That we're none the wiser about it. Like that we did a visit and it's like, oh, as far as we knew, he was sick.
Okay.
So we were conducting these interviews anyway, and he hadn't showed up for class. We're going to do it before the classes. However, we got sidetracked with some other stuff.
Yeah.
Coming back to interview them individually about what their thoughts are about each classmate and why.
Okay, I like that. I like that a lot. Would you like Chrome to go grab them out of their lessons for the next period for an emergency scheduled interviewing montage?
Well,
Like, how
first
do
as
I
long
want to
as-
play
I
this?
want to try and take it to the group
What
first and
songs
see
can
what
we
they
get?
think about it, though.
As long as Professor Flitwick is okay with it, I'm alright with it.
You guys basically have free reign of the school. Like, if you guys wanted to just say, yeah, class is cancelled, lads. Big game of rugby in the snow. They legally
Schools
can't
out.
stop you from doing that.
Oh wait, can we ask me to play rugby?
You could.
No.
I think
Right.
I've
Can we get them
expressed.
to play British
It's a team
Bulldog and the
sport.
last survivor? Full
I've-
contact British Bulldog,
I
last
pointed
survivor,
out the.
they join.
I pointed out the fake. We keep talking about these death runs. About like when I mentioned the fact that you guys can technically call in a gunship, and you're just gonna make them run onto the drop pod or the drop ship, and the last one alive wins.
Yeah.
But the
Well, that's like have it above with maybe 4 ladders, 5 ladders.
yeah,
The stand being down. Whoever gets up to the top wins.
yeah. So, yeah. What is the plan? Do you guys want to? I quite like this plan of like an interview followed by a simulated battle in the hallucinarium to gauge their a simulated assassination in the hallucinarium to gauge their emotional response to it.
I mean, I'm okay with the idea. I've also got other things that can potentially exhaust them further before they go into the hallucinarium.
Samuel, what's
Try
your
to speak
favourite
with the
player?
staff.
Wait, what?
So, Samuel, what's your favourite player? Prayer.
Player. My favourite player or my favourite prayer?
Player. I listened back to last session. There was a bit where I said, me and quizzed a jam in the gun. I said, yeah, she clears it, but in a gay way. And, like just those little mind goblins that come out as I speak is awful.
It's the worst. I feel that after having done
You
radio
didn't
for a
say
while.
gay,
Eventually,
you said queer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
hope
yeah,
as
that's
you're
right.
going through these voice notes, Warwick, you're taking notes. Like at the end of it all,
Queer
you can
doesn't
say,
mean
"And now this
gay."
is my
No,
favourite
It
pots."
means unusual. No, I
Here's
am.
something-
I'm getting a nice
here's
montage
my-
of.
Here's my favourite pot. Says this all of us going,
Let's
fuck you,
smear
fuck
the
shit,
queer.
cunt, fuck, wank, 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 fuck, wank, shit, fuck, wank, wank, oh, fuck, oh, shit, wank, cunt, fuck.
What I've actually done, I know you asked for like a no coughing super cut, but I've actually made one with just coughing. So I'll be releasing that.
Please.
Wait, are we fighting vampires?
No, that's what I'm saying. I want all everything cut out except for the coughing and burping and
Yeah.
noises and fucking parrot or what was it, pizza fucking sucking that Raph did.
Oh, guys, please
Can
It
you-
stop.
wasn't
can you-
sucking, it was choking.
Can you actually do a supercut actually of all the? So I don't know if you've seen that video of the it was like a press release or something like that for E3, and the guy was up on the stage, but it was every time he inhaled to take a breath, but it was only that
yeah,
for
they
the
do
entire
that with
video.
wrestlers.
If you could do that for us, it'd be great.
Yeah, sure. I've got, it's something I've always said about running this game is that I've just got too much time on my hands. So
Fair.
yeah.
As do we all. This pandemic's been a
That's
bitch.
what we subject them to. They have to live
So
10
speaking
hours of that.
speaking of time, what do you guys want to do?
Oh, it's time to decide. Yeah. So Lothar puts his hand down and says, "That's my idea." What do you guys think?
Yeah, that sounds like the plan.
Gotcha. And he's gonna make an eye towards Torra.
I would also-
Detective.
Detective?
Detective.
I'd also like to make sure no one is leaving, including teachers.
Troll nods and says, "Very well. I'll ensure no one leaves."
While I have no desire right now to necessarily interview or investigate the teachers. We're gonna go with the students first. They're not off the list yet.
It's
I'd
a
also
good
like to-
assumption to make.
I also like to turn to Crow and say, nobody's been sent to Penitence Point in the past 24 hours either, have there?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Can you confirm that for me as well? We don't want anybody trying to sneak away where they think we can't reach them.
What if we just fuck their mothers?
Good idea. Whilst so, Kroll then sends off a message on his data slate to the commander of Penitence Point, the guard, jailer, warden is the word I'm looking for.
Captain of Penis
The
Point.
captain of Penis Point is absolutely his name. And yeah, he says, "Oh, whilst we're here, should we check the servitor's vid feed?"
Oh, yeah.
it does have
right.
it does have a picked feed.
Yes.
Yes. Let's do that.
Perfect. He unlocks the room for the servitor. The cigarette has burned down and is no longer propped up on his.
It's just like on the floor. It's like
Yeah,
half there.
just a
Torra goes,
filter.
picks it up, and smokes it.
Commissar, did somebody deface the servitor?
It's called the Stinging Roger, Lothar. It's up. that
Always the
last
nicest
little
bit, that
bit
is all.
that last little bit that. Oh, that just burns the tipsy lips.
It's the best part of the smoke.
I'm
but you
so
got the-
glad that so many of my strange Australianisms Warwick understands.
I love it. Auntie Donna in the Big Les show is basically my
Oh my
lifeblood
God.
at this point.
Dude, I haven't told you yet. Guess who bought balcony seats to Auntie Donna Dead Cat Tour?
You?
9th of October, motherfucker.
Nice.
I've got an entire balcony of 8 people. We're going to get shit-faced and turn up to Auntie Donna at 4 p.m.
Nice.
Where's my invite?
That's the Australian dream.
You're not in the country.
Perfect.
Did not give us any time to guess.
So,
Look, I didn't ask for facts. I asked where's my invite.
Okay, sorry. My mistake.
Troll unlocks the door to the armorium and he leads you in there. This would be a plus 30 tech use test to pull the vid feed stuff from the servitor. It ain't difficult. So make that a roll.
Did you say, what did you say? Vid feed. Do you mean picked feed?
Picked are pictures. Vid is vid.
Bitches.
Oh
Wow.
my lord.
So you not only are able to basically get its immediate memory, but I think you actually tap into the past memory of this servitor.
Your
where it
target was 100. 110.
Nice shit. So, wow.
There was
So yeah, I think you're able to.
a 1 in 100 chance of failing.
I'm helping.
So you're able to interface successfully with the servitor, and you're able to draw out the vid feed. You sort of rewind it to the immediate stuff is a little bit strange. You see Torra slapping at it, followed by BGZ racking the slide on his radium carbine, and you also see the vid feed with like something approaching it very, very closely, which does look to be a little cigarette. But you rewind it a little bit further from that, where it's basically sat by itself in this room in the dark doing nothing, and then it sees people again. And you kind of go back a little bit beforehand. You see Gunnar Dangir alongside some other students who get their weapons issued to them and then make their way to the hallucinarium. And then you
is Gunnar Dandy's first name?
No,
No.
Gunnar was the other student who's part of the group who was meant to be in this classroom with him. Who was in this classroom with him, sorry. He was the one who tried to fix the jam by just smashing the gun, and it worked. So, yeah, and then you sort of fast forwarded to when they're dropping off their weapons. So all the other candidates go first, and then Gunnar places his weapons in the slots. The servitor, you see him scan them, and then make his way over to the shelf where they are placed. The servitor then spins back round, and Dangir's weapons are in the slot where they are scanned. He goes to pick them up, and you don't see on the vid feed whether he picks them up or not. He turns to the shelf, places something down there, and as he turns, you see there is nothing in this slot where he was meant to have placed it. He turns back, and Dangir is gone. So the vid feed was only basically what he saw. So he was looking at him, turned away, and by the time he got back, after placing the weapon down, so to say, the stormtrooper was gone. Oh, we've lost
Sorry.
Og. Oh,
I'm coming.
perfect.
Apparently, Opera isn't fully supported by Roll20.
Well, that's what you get. So yeah, that's what you get from the vid feed.
Was Gunnar out of the area at that time?
He
Like
seemed to
already?
have
Like
been, yeah, he had already left.
it was just Dangir or whatever.
He was the last one remaining there.
Bugger.
He.
Oh, sorry, and then you see Veld, the tutor, who's basically switching the lights off in the hallucinarium. He sort of goes past the servitor and then locks the door behind him.
So Dangir and Veld was the last two that were there. Dangir went to go place the weapon. It was not actually there for the servitor to pick up. Am I understanding that
So
right? It
he
got scanned, but he didn't put it away.
It seemed like he scanned it, and then when the servitor went to go pick it up, it was moved, but the servitor was not aware it had moved. It just grabs where it thinks it is, moves, and then places it on the shelf.
What a useless fucking
Bob
system.
didn't even need to use the rope. He could have just took the gun away.
Well, it seems to have been, well, yeah.
That's even worse.
Are you telling me that this system for indoctrinating child soldiers has its inherent flaws? I mean, part of the security is the fact that if they're caught with a weapon, they are shot. That is, a pretty good
Well, there
way
you
of
go.
stopping them.
Case solved. He was caught with a weapon and shot.
By Veld. Shit. I'm gonna be so upset if that's how that happened.
Yeah.
Veld followed him back, like, gotta put the gun back. He's like, no, and he shoots him with the gun.
And
Yeah.
which one is Veld?
Veld
Teacher.
is one of the teachers who is
Right, which one?
he is the survival and marksmanship and fieldcraft trainer. He's the guardsman. He was there at the marksmanship thing, and also the survival one a couple of days ago. He was the one who suggested that I think Harding.
Did
should
we
been
have
punished.
any? Did we have a? Yeah, we didn't have him and Dangir in the same class, did we?
Hold on, I've got that written down.
I don't think so. No.
There's no. Yeah, I was just curious. They're in.
So
and
as I
out.
said last one, they have multiple classes. You're only seeing a snapshot of them. The last
Right,
time he
but
was
of
with
what?
him was
Yeah,
this.
and that's what
yeah.
I'm saying. Like of what we did see.
We have not seen the two of them together. The first time would have been melee combat.
Yeah,
But
which,
he was
that
not
was it. It was
present.
the lesson that he was meant to be in that you left.
Mm-hmm.
To go find him dead.
Well, so that teacher moves up the list of suspect teachers. But
I'll get a paracetamol. Be right back.
Enjoy.
Did he just pronounce paracetamol as paracetamol?
It happens sometimes. Who's writing "Help" by Penitence
Accents
Points?
are weird.
Here. I know it's you.
Right. So, and then knowing that, it almost appears as though Dangir would have taken the weapon. The question then becomes why.
well, okay. So if Daringer took the weapon, he clearly didn't kill himself. That's too much effort to put in.
Unless he knew he was in danger.
I
And
was
he
sort of
beat
hoping the
himself
mystery would be
up,
wrapped up
and
by this
he
video
shot
feed,
himself
to
in
be
the
honest.
leg, and he also shot himself twice in the brain.
Well, no, clearly not. But like, also, are we doing this in character or out of character? I'm sorry, I probably should have
Bit of both. I like
a
it.
little bit. I mean, but I don't know.
There
It
has
would
to
make
be
sense.
someone else involved. He can't.
No shit. There's somebody else involved.
It's that classic Russian suicide of shooting himself twice in
Yeah,
the head and then
Chekhov's
jumping out of the
gun.
building. Yeah.
It's like, and then
Clear case of
there were
Chekhov's
none where
gun.
he actually had it like on a bit of an elastic, so that when it fired, the gun got whipped out of the.
So he
Oh my
made
god,
a
we didn't check outside the barracks.
Rube Goldberg machine or whatever it's called.
No, but we did check outside the barracks. So if somebody else got wounded, for example, they might have bled out in the snow somewhere there.
What you do is you get the body and you hang it, you strangle them to death, and then you put a noose around the neck and you tie it in a shower and you put them on a block of ice. So when the ice melts, they're then hanging.
Exactly.
The blood being colder than the other blood either means he got shot in the leg or wherever. I would assume the leg first.
Did we ask any of his neighbours if they heard any noises?
They're in class.
No, however, if
We're in
this
class.
we did, however, know that these were suppressed las pistols.
That is correct.
He did specify that for the stealth class, so they ideally wouldn't have hurt anything anyway.
I was gonna say, I assume the colder blood was actually whoever attacked him, probably,
Or who he shot first, then got the gun wrestled away from him, and then was
I'm
killed.
not ruling out Toilet Squad.
The blood. All
Yeah,
the blood in the room.
I'm glad Amelia's on board.
All the blood that was in the room was
Was
Dangier's,
his?
and also
Okay.
there was a toilet in the room. Yes, so it is the squad.
We did
So-
confirm it's Dangier's blood. Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know that bit.
I forgot that part.
Who the fuck wrote RAR XD?
Who put that by the?
Oh, yeah.
I bet that's by
I'm-
Penis Point, isn't it?
I'm gonna change fucking Roll20
Oh.
to just a blank background because you cunts can't be trusted. You're like a bunch of
I'm not
children.
doing
You know that
anything.
we're just gonna write on that too,
That is
right?
true.
If anything, it's gonna make it easier.
That's more of a canvas.
That is true.
It is.
So yeah, I feel like you guys are making some not conclusions, but there's a few like hypotheses floating around here.
Well, like you just
That's
said, so
good, I
all
feel
the
lost.
blood has been confirmed to be
AKA,
Dangier's,
you're
meaning
wrong.
the other person didn't get hurt in this attack. They
It's-
also
yeah.
shot from above into his knee. initially.
But if he was tangled in the bed, does that mean he was in bed?
Where he
Or
was
he got
when he was
shot
attacked.
and then got it because the sheets were tangled around. The sheets were tangled around his legs.
Did we
So
see if the sheets
He
got?
didn't get shot, climb into bed, go and get tangled.
I feel like we would have seen melted sheets around his leg though at the same time, right?
You also had the blood splatter by the bed,
True.
which was the one that had the actual scorch mark, as if the shot actually hit it rather than just the what's it called, the viscera from the wound. And there was only one of the gunshots with an exit wound, so only one of them could have done that.
We definitely have more headway than we did before. At the same time here, we really should conduct a couple interviews with these folks and get their general impressions of each other. Gotcha. Okay.
Crone gets a notification on his data slate and says, by the looks of it, no one's been sent to Penitence Point for 72 hours, so would you like me to lock it down and just make sure no one goes there?
Yes, please.
Very well. And
also flag up for anything that should be going there.
Very well. If there's any misdemeanors, you'll be the first to know.
Out of curiosity, has anybody been to the... Wow, sorry, Medicaid is the first thing that popped in my head, but that's not the right word for the thing I mean. It is, but it isn't. Anybody been in the infirmary? There we are. Good think of it.
Let me pull the logs for you. Last thing was, it was actually from this lesson. One of the other students seemed to have tripped whilst within the hallucinarium and twisted their ankle, and that was the last thing.
Gotcha. Okay. And other than that, there has been nothing else in the last 24 hours or so.
Nothing.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's been one day without the school place, save the accident.
And that's actually a bad thing.
It is.
We've got quotas to fill.
Gotcha. Sorry, I'm opening up another notepad called
No.
Interviews with Students.
Lovely. Speaking of interviews with students, you sort of pull them all out of their classes. With the amount of students to get through, if you can, we'll do like one dummy interview basically, and then with each one as we go through, I'll be able to just basically give you the answers to the questions, if that makes sense.
I think yes.
Perfect.
Basically, like we're doing a montage and like all the answers are being given all at the same time.
I'd like to also suggest that we just hit them with a lot of like, what is your birthday? What is your, just like a lot, just
like a lie
making
detector
them
test word
answer.
Yeah.
Perfect. Should we go through, I think, in the order that they're in your respective candidates list, which is Jerome, Found Mien, Gunnar Dangir, or Sinokand. So starting off would be with Jerome, who I think you pull out of a lesson of prayer. She is proud, as she always is, and she answers your basic questions of, her name, date of birth, that sort of thing, very, very easily. What else do you ask her?
Tell us your impressions of your fellow candidates.
She looks to you
Interlinked.
and says, honestly?
Ideally.
Mostly lacking.
What does that mean?
Lacking in faith. How can they go out there and fight the wars for the Emperor without carrying his torch ahead of them? A standing ovation from our family.
We all. And then the whole bus claps.
Yeah.
Never believe it.
The lacking in faith. Do they lack for anything else?
What is there that's more important than faith?
Amen.
Any other
Do
questions?
you trust them?
I trust them to do their duty.
Why?
They've proven themselves, though lacking in faith, capable. One does not need to be the preacher at the pulpit if one can be part of the choir.
I like that. That was really good. Out of character, I really like that. In character, I also like that too.
Yeah.
Have
She
you ever
says,
been in an
"Thanks."
institution? Cells.
What?
Do they keep you in a cell? Cells. When you're not performing your duty, do they keep you in a little box? Cells.
What are you asking her?
Interlinked. What is it like to hold the hand of someone you love? Interlinked.
What are you quoting?
Did they teach you how to feel finger to finger? Have you never seen Blade Runner?
Not for a long time.
No, it's been a forever though.
It's the baseline test.
Oh, is it?
You're walking
yeah,
in a desert and a
interlinked.
turtle's on its back. What do you do?
Yeah.
Interlinked.
Cells interlinked. Why don't you say it 3 times? Within cells interlinked. Okay, yeah. She doesn't respond.
Yeah.
What else would you like to ask Jerome?
Why'd you kill him? No, I don't. Torra doesn't actually ask that question. Torra doesn't actually ask that question. Because we're not gonna spring the fact on them that he's dead until after the hallucination episode.
I'm just
just
gonna stare into his
ask
eyes.
about the religious aspect, so this will be more for her
Yeah.
in particular. Just I noticed in class there that you were not fond of those who didn't follow the faith correctly. Let's say
She nods.
of your fellow candidates who did and didn't follow correctly.
Well, as she speaks, you kind of think that some of her thoughts have been tempered by the embarrassment she received in that lesson that you witnessed, where she was basically called a fucking idiot in front of the entire class.
Was she?
She's chastised.
Yeah, basically say.
Really? I thought the opposite happened.
No. She basically said, if you go to a backwards world and tell the savages who are worshipping the emperor there that they're heretics, you're going to get fucking stabbed. Was basically what she was told.
And then Raph came up and said, "No, you're a good girl, and
That was-
you're correct."
I can't remember whose side I was on, to be honest with you.
I
Was that
think
her
I think
side?
you had a very good general blanket statement that made everybody feel good.
Yeah,
Did I-
that's what religion's
did I
for,
pick-
baby.
did I have
Amen.
the shepherd choose why option where you do the background quest for all the
Yeah.
side characters for
Yeah,
everybody's happy in the end no matter what.
exactly.
Yeah.
So-
yeah.
She says, best among them, I would say, is Lem. His faith is strong. It is powerful. For him,
Sorry.
bless you. For him, faith is a reprieve from his tortured existence, and that is something I think to be admired. Weakest. She has a think. Says, I do not want to call any of my fellow candidates weak, but personally I find Hans' perspective, his distance from his fellow man, a little odd and troubling. He can say the words, but there's nothing in his heart that says them with him.
Understandable.
Anything else you would like to ask, Jerome?
Oh my.
Name me the third
Jesus
emperor's
fucking
prayer
Christ.
twice from the row, 8th, 15th down.
Okay, remember what we're here for.
I am the darkness that surrounds me. I am the air that surrounds me. I am the land that hides me. I wait to strike from the darkness. I wait to kill from out of thin air. I am invisible. I am the silent death. I have become death, destroyer of foes, full of foe. Smash the enemy. For the emperor we bring death, she says perfectly.
I give her a business card.
What's on this one?
Banisher or Famio. Did I give him a number to a phone that's not been used in the past 80 years?
Yeah, it's 0800 Ipcress.
Oh, 800 impress. And take this, you feel it.
I like the
And then
idea as
my
well.
signature on the bottom right.
Yeah, Lane's got like a fucking drawer full of Voxcasters, and now and then one
Wait,
of them
awesome.
rings. And he's like, I fucking answer it there.
If you ever need help, call this number. Potentially someone will answer. Most likely, nobody will, to be honest with you. But here you
I
go.
was sort of hoping it would be like the Four Lions rap. It's like, I'm the Mujahideen and I'm making a scene, and now you're gonna find out what the boom boom mean.
I love that.
Ugh.
I wish it was like that now.
It's like Tupac said, when I die, I'm not dead. We're the martyrs. You're just smashed tomatoes. Allah Akbar! And then release the suicide belt.
That's lovely.
Mashallah, brother. Mashallah.
Yeah, and that is the Imperial Creed. Anything else you would like to ask Jerome?
Trying to think like something along the lines of who they think is the most likely to I'm trying to think how to word it right, but like follow orders. Who's most likely to potentially try to escape is not exactly what I'm looking for, because I know that's not really possible. But
so, person who is best at following orders, I think she would say.
Orders isn't exactly what I mean, though.
Doing what they're told,
or like following along with the program, as opposed, or who's kind of slacking off and doing their own thing.
So like the general vibe. Okay.
Yeah.
She's pretty critical about a few students. A lot of her criticisms that seem to be about, say, their marksmanship seems to veer back towards their lack of faith. Like that is the base issue with a lot of the criticism she's got here. She does get onto Dangir eventually. She says that she didn't know him particularly well. She didn't have a huge amount of classes with him, but he was a good student. And
is a good student.
He's a good student. She says that he's a good student, and she respects him.
Did you guys sleep together?
No.
Okay, good.
I'm just trying to think, like, those.
Would you fuck my friend and family here?
That's a no from her as well. She is 17.
Oh, I'm sorry, but I tried.
That's fine. We're both British.
That is true.
Now roleplay it out. Let's go.
Absolutely not. I don't want to be part of that.
When is the ERP
How does
episode?
one kiss with my face?
God.
I take off my breathing mask and I headbutt her.
Lick my hole. Put your tongue in my face hole.
I think we don't have any more questions for Jerome at this point.
She nods and leaves. So next up would be Faun.
I like to imagine Radar in the other room just goes, choppers, and he hears Torra going.
So Faun, if you remember, he's got very good combat skills, but he's not particularly creative. He follows orders well, and that's about it. He answers your questions on name, position, ID number, and all that kind of thing. Absolutely fine. What else would you like to ask him?
Same battery of questions I had before. I'm not going to have you remember them. First off, what are your impression of your fellow students?
I think generally positive. He's not too critical. Very much he's at the position of someone who does what they're told, so there's not a huge amount of like criticism of anyone who can tell someone what to do, even if it's the wrong thing. He does mention Dangir. He says that he liked him quite a bit. He worked under him on multiple combat tests and kind of viewed him as like quite a good squad leader. Yeah.
And same thing with the, general vibe question.
General vibe.
You trust them, yeah.
I think he has a lot of trust and respect. I think Faun has perhaps a little bit of low confidence and knows they're not the most intellectual of the candidates. So kind of views most people there as his betters. So yeah, he's got a lot of respect.
So he thinks everybody is like on with the program.
Yeah, he can't see anything wrong with it.
Can I do a scrutiny check on him like I did previous?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Basically seeing if he's.
I would intimidate him. I forgot to say that.
Scrutiny. I'm going to do scrutiny in the meantime. I've got a fucking clue.
Yeah, seems fine.
I intimidate him.
How are you intimidating him? What are you trying to do?
Is there a table?
Yes.
I take off my eviscerator and I put it onto the table, like.
Nice.
And I set him. And whenever anybody asks him a question, like before he has a chance to answer, I'm like, answer the question.
He is quite shaken by this. He does find you very, very intimidating.
Make my pec stance.
He says, "Well, well,
Don't
if
stutter. Answer.
if I had to choose someone who I didn't like, it would be, I suppose, Grisha.
Why?
She's quiet. She just doesn't. I don't know. I just get a bad vibe.
You don't know? You don't know why you don't like her? Come on.
I don't not like her. I just like her less. I've only had a few classes with her. I don't think she's particularly interesting.
So you don't like somebody because they're not interesting.
Yes.
That's a bit of a cavalry reason to not like somebody. Don't you think?
He remains silent.
Well, am I not good enough now for you to talk to me?
I'm
Is there-
intimidated. Jesus.
Do you have any more questions for me, Banisher?
Get out of here.
Perfect.
Before we go to the next, Orfeo, why'd you do that?
It's going too slowly.
That's the point.
So
We're supposed to be
Is
going
it?
slowly.
I thought
Yes.
the point was to get answers.
We have to do it slowly.
Why? Literally, in what book does it say to get answers, people have to be talking at the speed of a snail shagging a turtle?
I
That
hold
is
up
just
the
not-
Imperial Infantryman's Handbook and I show him in particular.
Oh no.
Aha.
I turn on my eviscerator and I cut through his handbook.
I swear to the Emperor, if
Wait,
and
wait,
he's
wait, wait,
picking
wait,
up all
wait,
the
wait.
papers. What?
Wait.
Go ahead, go ahead.
wait. Oh no, what's he doing?
He
Okay,
definitely did a hit
I
roll
hit
for
the
it.
handbook.
You absolutely, and only the
Lovely.
handbook. Very fair.
Perfect.
So I said, well, I was going to explain to you that patience,
Oh no, it was
I-
on.
it was on. Oh no, there's no damage type or penetration on that
Oh,
at
what?
all, so it didn't do a thing.
What's going on to my damage?
He must not have turned it on. It's just a blunt weapon, basically.
You just
Yeah.
whacked at it, and so I said,
Yeah.
okay. So I pushed it to the side. And hey, if there's anything I've learned by being a sniper for the guard, is you're going to be patient, and we do not want to spook our quarry. We have to be
What I
patient.
find hilarious is that none of this has a thing to do with snipering.
Welcome to my
You know
life
what-
for the
you know
past
what I
3 years,
found?
Orfamiel.
You know what I found by being a cook with eggs is if I want them to be soft boiled, I wait 8 minutes. I'm gonna wait 8 minutes before the next guy comes in, so he's nice and gooey on the inside before I then, cook him on the outside. What point you're making no point at all? You're being very not point worthy right now.
The door slams open, and
Who is it?
a man staggers in who you don't recognize. He's wearing a uniform that looks familiar to you, or Samuel. It's the uniform that you wore when you were here. It is an older version of it. He appears to be perhaps 16. His face is particularly gaunt, and he is bleeding from the top left shoulder. He's covering his hand over the wound.
Hello.
What's going on?
He says, he looks at you all, catches his breath, and says, I don't think I've got much time. Look carefully. This is the last part of his name, which I will not speak for fear of bringing him to me. He then goes over to the mirror on the side of the room, which has been frosted with glass, and he writes, he types in on the data slate there. He writes 2 letters, K and A. He turns to you, he opens his mouth to speak, and he has disappeared as soon as he arrived.
Oh no. I gotta
Is
close the door immediately.
It's not the It's not Willem.
Lothar, give me an awareness test.
Why do you mean? Wait, when you say disappears,
I'm closing the door immediately.
Disappears.
I mean, he is literally vanished from sight as if he was never there.
Wait, as in he was there, now he's gone.
Yeah, as in
he ran out the door so fast.
No, he has.
Disappeared.
You have blinked and he's disappeared from where he was.
May I re-roll that with my divination thing where I can re-roll failed awareness tests so I'm not surprised? Cool, because this is relatively surprising.
I would say this is surprising.
That's much better.
Lothar, that's Willem. Younger Willem, that's Willem.
What?
Okay. All right.
Sorry, I had to answer a text there. What was that?
Yeah.
Okay, but I remember Critter's story of the disappearing man and all that. So.
Gotcha. I'm locking the door immediately. I'm turning back to them. Said that was him again.
That's
I
the
wasn't
naked
crazy.
man.
I wasn't crazy. Guess what? Well, I mean, clearly he was clothed, but he's not.
The last time he was
that
naked
was-
in your bedroom.
Yeah, and he was also bleeding. What's your point? Look, this is the second time now that I've seen him. I know who it is. That was Willem. That was Willem, 100%.
So
He told me not to warn. What?
Sorry, no, sorry. Go on. Finish
He
your.
told me not to warn or talk about it with anybody, but I think he's kind of fucked that up now, hasn't he?
So, Og, what just happened is a young man wearing the uniform of students from when Orfamia was here quite a few decades ago has stumbled into the room with a bleeding shoulder, and he has written. He said, "I don't have much time," and he's written the letters K and the letter A on a frosted mirror that is in the corner of the room.
Oh,
and
well,
then
he said that was the
immediately
the end of the
disappeared.
last name.
He
Did I go
said,
to school with Willem? That's pretty cool.
He says, "I don't have much time. Look carefully. This is the last part of his name, which I will not speak of for fear of bringing him to me."
Last part of
His
okay, I thought you
name.
said. Yeah.
Willem's also the one that at the ball spoke to Critter and said,
That
"You
was
have
one
a
of-
presence."
That was one of Willem's acolytes, Vansano.
Okay.
Yes.
Mhm.
Who basically said something is chasing after you.
This is the one that I danced with.
That is true.
Fasana?
Yeah.
Yeah. And yes, that was a conversation. It was like somebody's chasing, like you've pissed someone off, and I was like, yeah, pissed off a lot of people. So
Yeah.
what?
It's Mr. Fudder.
Well, I mean that literally doesn't fit any of the.
No, I
So-
think this is a greater thing. It's the last letters of his. For fear of speaking, that's you speak a demon's name, they have power.
Orfamia, with that demonology roll. Hey,
Ooh.
that's kind
You
of
actually passed a demonology roll for once.
he did.
Wait, is there demons? Is this?
And it
is
was
there demon
appropriate
shit
to do
going
it,
on
too.
here? Do I detect
With
some demonology shit?
Torra's mad rambling about names triggers something in your mind, and you remember something about the true name of a demon and how it is a powerful binding name, but should not be said unneededly.
Oh fuck! Do I have the name of a demon somewhere?
Lothar,
Oh, sorry,
you have
I need to
seen.
clear my throat by that.
That's all right. Lothar, you've seen Willem now 3 times. He first appeared bleeding from the nose in your shower. Second time was in person at the Inquisitorium, and now the third time he has met you here at the Scholar.
I hate myself for the Inquisitorium thing. I'm never
It's
going to
canon.
live down.
Did we all see Willem or only Lothar
All of you
saw
saw
Willem?
You all
Willem
did.
this time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. Oh, okay.
You're a little bit fucky wucky.
if we have people
think we
coming
all
and
are.
going like this, then anyone could have killed him.
The
Thanks.
security in this building, fucking shit.
The servitor is the least of our worries now. Okay, all right. And he's Lothar's rubbing his temples. Okay. Look, I don't know how he fits into all this. I'm gonna be honest with you. Does he? Does he not? I'm looking at all of you for answers. Hopefully, you've got one.
Well, just say like, well, I've already gone over the list of students, and that's not relevant to what he said.
Guys, I think
Good.
it's a demon. Something about the ramblings of this crazy man here, combined with all this kind of mojo jojo. I think there's some there's some demonic entities at work here.
Our family, you always think there's demonic entities at work here.
Now, but this time, I'm at least 1 degree of success sure there is a demonic entity at work here. Trust me, that's a lot more than usual. Usually I'm like -6.
Yeah.
Actually, you do have a good point. Right. So there could be demons involved, which I'll admit, I'm actually kind of surprised by that. I wouldn't have thought this would have been demons, like personal demons for someone
It's
in here,
always
sure,
demons.
but not.
I suppose I don't know much about demons or possession is a thing, though, right?
Yes, you can be possessed by a demon.
Possession is
You've-
we've actually
you've
dealt with possessed
seen-
demons in the past.
You've seen
Mhm.
a demon host, which is
It
the
doesn't mean I
attempt to
know much
force
about
demons
that,
to-
though.
No, it's
Nah, don't
fucking
worry.
weird.
Trust me. This has now become a banisher only situation. You guys listen to what I do
Would it be
when
possible?
I have a sore throat today, so somebody else
If-
can take
if-
over till I take
if-
over later.
If Willem is trying to tell us something that is relevant to this situation, would it be possible for our student to have been possessed and technically killed himself?
You would have noticed,
Oh.
I think, the signs of demonic possession.
Well,
Or would you?
One of us would have.
Yeah. Well, you
Well,
might not have. It
Hmm?
depends. It's usually a pretty. I was going to say it's usually a pretty bloody affair and causes some mutation. There was no outward sign of demonic possession on his body. Usually, it causes marks to form, horns, that sort of thing. It's not a clean process to become possessed by a demon. Generally, someone needs to be willing to do it as well, or forced
also,
to do.
do you guys appreciate one of the students of the scholar seems to be competing in the Triwizard Tournament?
I did notice that.
I did notice that. I love that. I love the dragon around the
Yeah.
tower too. Look, I don't know. Let's at least talk with all the other students. I don't even want to think about the
Also,
time
none of
travel
the teachers'
thing.
names end in KA, do they?
Killer Allen.
Oh my god.
No, it's gonna be Briska.
None of the teachers' names, I believe, end in it. There's Krone, Hagen.
Loka. Torra's just gonna start. Torra's just gonna start naming names that end with KA.
What's the most demonic name I could possibly think
Only-
of right now that ends in KA?
Only Krone's name has a K in it, and he doesn't have an A.
Right, it said that was
Mokna.
the end of the name anyway, so.
True.
Point being, I was
Dis-
just quickly scrolling through the list internally, like, no.
El Disipaka.
Despacito.
Chupacabra.
So yeah, there are more interviews to conduct.
Cobra
Oh,
Ka. Oh
oh,
no, that's Kai, isn't
no.
it? Never mind.
Oh,
There are more
it's
interviews, though.
Go.
Baraka.
Cobra Ka.
Baraka. Oh my god. Fucking Mortal Kombat tie-in. Right. Let's get back to interviewing people.
Before you guys start
receives
summoning
a
a
cease
demon.
and desist from Warner Brothers Media.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Because it sounds just like the
Yeah,
movie.
the thing is, like, okay, is that relevant to what we're doing now, or is that relevant to a greater plot?
I don't know. I have a
yeah.
headache. Let's just talk to the others, and I'll
Well, that
try
was
and.
obviously out of character, but
If you guys
Oh,
are
no,
looking
it's
at
a
a
joke.
fabric
Sorry.
now, you guys know like
just
the
sort
original
of
Spider-Man.
meta a little bit there.
You guys like
Seems
know
like
the
a
original
potential-
Spider-Man.
It's not a red
Yeah.
herring because it's going to be relevant to something else, but it might not be relevant to this murder.
Everything's
What's the
relevant
name
to
of
the murder.
what's the press guy?
Yeah,
That's
but-
like, I want pictures of Spider-Man. For him, he's like, get me pictures of the Spider-Man. That's what Family's doing, but instead of like saying the Spider-Man, he's going, it's the demons, it's the demons. I have proof it's the demons. Get me more proof of the demons. Pardon me.
I mean, you can investigate the barracks further.
I'm going to go to the barracks further to investigate some more demonology activity.
Well,
That
Samuel, you
sounds like a-
hop on the quad bike just outside the interview room and barrel towards the barracks.
I do a kickflip.
Absolutely, you do a kickflip over the bridge, and a few of like the 6-year-olds who are just being inducted see it, and it's the sickest fucking thing. And let me tell you, in 20 years, all of them are going to be priests.
Nice.
Yeah,
So
just
Tim,
imagining him now in like, not with just this fucking, Mad Max face, just priest robes on a motorcycle, just
Yeah.
floating, like. That's
So-
the coolest
I'm-
priest
I've-
I've ever seen.
So
I
whilst
think
you're,
I have my full plate mail as well. Actually, no, I left that in my room, didn't I? Never mind.
I think you can still wear it. You're a banisher. You can do what you want.
Nah, but I think in terms of like my character, I left it in the room because I didn't think I need it on.
Fair enough. So next up in the interview list would be Mian, who is the one who is quite techie, has good mental and resilience and intelligence, is an all right shot. If you remember, she was the one who unjammed her gun skillfully, whereas Gunnar did not.
Mhm.
So yeah, she sits down quite confident. She answers all your, basic questions.
We are absolutely
Yeah, I mean,
going to
this-
get copyright
this-
stricken.
Same question.
Cool.
Yep. What are your general impressions of your fellow candidates?
She's a little bit more astute. I think she kind of points out kind of flaws that your letter reads that Hagen himself has noticed. He points out, Drom's zeal, getting a bit away, Hans' impersonality actually getting in the way of things, Dangir just being a little bit of a wet blanket, and she kind of goes through. Sorry, not Dangir, Jackson being a bit of a wet blanket. She says that when it gets to Dangir, as she's going through the list, she basically says that he didn't really know him. Well, doesn't really know him too well. Was a bit of a suck up. She says that she found him, but I think as well, you kind of look at her and see she's a woman of great intelligence, and Dangir was the guy also trying to answer all the questions, so there's a little competitive edge there. And yeah, general vibes. Seems to be pretty happy to be here. Doesn't know of anyone who's particularly critical. She does say that Jackson apparently tried to escape years ago, which you already know. But yeah.
Got you. Who would she trust?
Who would I trust? She leans back in her chair and goes, well, this is going to sound strange, but Jerome, she is a zealot, but you know what you point her in the right direction. You know that she's going to end up there. She's very by the book, if that book is the Imperial truth. She's predictable.
From the barracks you hear another.
I don't think you've ever been by the book in your fucking life, bud.
Is that said to me? And no, okay.
Wait,
don't know.
that was said to a Samuel.
Oh, sorry, he's
not
halfway
here.
across the barracks doing sick kickflips.
Oh, is he? Sorry.
Yeah, he's on the quad bike. Yeah. Anything else you would like to ask me? Ian?
Who do you trust the least?
She. Bless you.
Bless.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
She says. Again, she says Jackson says he's tried to run away multiple times. He's a liability. I wouldn't trust him on exercise. I wouldn't trust him in combat. She does have nice things to say of Gunnar as well. I know in the lesson between them they were quite competitive, but she says that occasionally they go on runs, which is nice that they train together and try and push each other faster.
So out of character, I want to just double check. Answers all the questions very confidently. She's very astute. Points at basically reads the letter back to us
Pretty
that we
much.
got sent. Asked about just other impressions here too. She had mentioned Dangir. I missed that part about.
Dangit, she said he's a bit of a suck up.
Okay.
Seems to just answer questions just to show off rather than actually because he wants to share the answer, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Got you. Okay.
So next up then would be Gunnar, who comes in. He is quite stocky. You last saw him, I think, before you left the. He was meant to be doing some hand-to-hand combat training with Dangir before you guys had to leave. So yeah, he sits down. He answers your questions again. Well, he sounds a little bit bored, but yeah, hit him with the questions.
Okay. Same
Interlinked. Do they keep you in a cell? Interlinked.
same battery as before. General impressions of your fellow candidates.
So Gunnar has a bit of an anti-authoritarian streak. He says that a lot of his criticisms come from the people who are better at leading, or comes against the people who are better at leading, and he kind of calls them out for actually some what sounds like quite fair criticisms. So he mentions, specific calls that were made in a training exercise that would have resulted in people actually dying. That say Faun once ran one, which was a disaster. He mentions Dangir in one of these. He said he didn't really like him much. He argued with him constantly in one combat test, but eventually he kind of realized that he was right, has this kind of begrudging respect for him. As for everyone else, the people who are, again, least trustworthy, he doesn't like Hans, doesn't get on with him well. Doesn't really like Jackson either, thinks he's a bit of an outsider. Again, expresses a kind of admiration for me and again mentions the runs.
Got you. So that actually kind of answers a little bit of the other questions of who do you trust versus distrust within your candidate pool. Anyone else that comes to mind?
He dislikes Harding. He mentions. Harding's unorthodoxness kind of clashes with Gunnar's own arguing with authority, in that they both end up arguing with an authority figure and then argue between each other.
Gotcha. Gunnar, if you were in our position of the candidates, who would you choose?
He looks at you and he says, Dangir.
Why?
He leans back in his chair and says, do you mind if I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Where is he? You went to go find him. You were in a lesson with me. He was meant to be there.
Last we knew he was sick.
Didn't you find him?
You ask a lot of questions for a man with 2 fingers.
He looks down, realizes he's got 10.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh god, they grew back.
Oh, you fucked me, haven't you?
Could I then do a scrutiny on him?
Yeah, sure. Give me a vibe check. Okay.
Son of a bitch, I'm really bad.
He doesn't appear to be speaking from a place of suspicion, but genuinely from a position of someone who has a classmate who has apparently gone missing and is concerned.
Oh yeah. As far as we're aware, he was unwell. We let the commissar know, and last we heard was from the commissar.
He nods and says, "Well, I'll just go see him and see if he's okay. Is he in the infirmary or is he resting in his barracks?"
Unsure. Again, we left it at the commissar. We're not really sure if they had taken him to the infirmary or not.
I'll speak with the commissar then. Thank you. I was worried about him.
Gotcha. Well, thank you for your time. Unless we got anything else we wanted to ask him, actually, out of character.
Anyone else?
I mean, obviously, it makes him slightly suspicious. But I, at the same time, should everyone do a check? You know what I mean? I don't know. It doesn't always feel right to just have everyone.
Who do you want to ask questions of?
No. I mean, to check him for scrutiny,
Oh, right,
is he
I see.
telling the truth?
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm trying not to do that with everybody. I think I've only done that with
No.
him and with Jerome. I think.
Yeah, if you're getting weird vibes, I think it's a good idea about them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found it interesting that he would ask a question back, kind of a thing.
Well, not according to his. He questions authority, so it's not that surprising.
No, it is. It's fitting for
You
him.
are
I
the
get
biggest
that.
authority figures he has ever met.
Mhm.
So next
Fair.
up, then,
I find it interesting that he enjoys somebody who is essentially authority incarnate.
Yeah.
Kind of follows things in
he has
a very by the book way, which is out of character for him, which is what leads to scrutiny and suspicion for me.
I get that. There's a begrudging respect that he doesn't like him, but I think he respects him, and also as a fellow classmate, I think that's. Imagine if you're told, "Oh yeah, these guys are going to go get your mate and see what's happened," and then you don't hear from the mate. You're a bit like, "What's happened?" You know. He is suspicious of you because you are members of the Inquisition, which is about as fucking suspicious as you can get.
Oh, absolutely.
So next up then would be Harding, who.
What about Dank? Oh, right.
Yeah, what about Dangir? Am I right? The body of Dangir is carted in.
Hey guys, what's up?
Hey, I'm dead.
What's the deal?
I'm not a demon.
Don't look for me.
Wink.
Wink.
I don't trust a thing it's saying.
We need to see if he's a demon first, though.
Harding sits down. Harding, if you remember, is a little bit unorthodox. Is the one that tore up their shirt to win the survival thing with the fire. Much to Hans's annoyance.
If you had to kill Dangir, how would you do it?
Asking for a friend.
I assume we asked the same general
yeah,
question.
same general question. So he's quite similar to Gunnar. Doesn't like the authority figures. He doesn't have the grudging respect for Dangir that Gunnar did. He's a lot more similar to Mian, where he says, "Yeah, bit of a suck up." Doesn't like him much. Harding has answered a lot of questions, but he tends to answer and they are perceived as wrong, and that gives him a lot of angst, I think, that kind of comes out in how he reacts to authority figures. But yeah, he seems generally okay with his other classmates, but he operates from a position of quite a lot of distance outside of the sort of regular structure of their things. He doesn't mind being unorthodox if it means that kind of leave him alone, if that makes sense.
Huh. Interesting to me. Gotcha. Right, I'll ask you the same questions I've asked your fellow candidates. What are your... actually, he already answered the impressions of candidates, didn't he? So, who does he trust versus distrust?
He doesn't trust Dangir, doesn't like him. He also doesn't like Faun. He finds him completely soulless in that he doesn't have a... he lacks creativity, and he feels that there is something a little bit dull and a little bit suspicious about that.
I noticed you didn't tell me who you trusted.
He chuckles and he says, like, pretty much only trust myself.
Why is that?
Have you seen the training exercises we do?
I have.
Can't rely on other people. Most people here are idiots. If I'm going to survive like I have so far, I need to be able to work independently. Sure, I can work as part of a squad, but what if I'm the last one left? I still need to be able to fight.
I have someone here who will prove you very wrong.
You do?
This man, point to Torra, is the dumbest person I've ever encountered.
Oh!
But he has saved my life and helped me out plenty.
I love
Remy?
you too, Mimi. You wanna... Oh no, is this gonna... Torra blushes.
Usually slaps
Starts-
his hand.
Starts thinking of Thalia.
Oh no.
I'm like,
Oh,
oh no,
no.
not again. My raw animal magnetism.
Keeps happening.
Stupid
musk.
or not,
My mother.
teammates matter.
He nods and says, well, perhaps, yes.
Well, it's something hopefully you'll learn while you're here.
He nods and says, yes, I'll consider that.
By the Emperor, we learned it in the Guard. Thank you for your time.
He stands up, gives you a polite nod, and heads out.
Mhm.
Next up is Grisha, who, if you remember, is the one who was subject to some mind scraping after the death of her friend Mikhail on exercise 4 years ago. She comes in, she politely nods at you, she doesn't kind of greet you, and she sits down.
Do you have the details on what happened?
Generally.
As to what
The
happened.
training exercise that went wrong here or whatever?
It'd be worth asking Kron. I'll say that you pulled
Yeah, I'm
it
not
up.
going to ask her.
Yeah.
Oh, hey,
yeah.
the trauma
What's
that
the
you got your
trauma?
mind
Tell me the
scraped
trauma.
for? You know, what's...
I think it was. I think the training was some miles west of the Scholar, out beyond the woods. There was an exercise wherein they had to crawl across some barbed wire or underneath some barbed wire, and sort of take cover on the other side of it whilst under simulated fire. I think Kron, in this flashback, has told you that her trauma was that Mikhail, who was with her, and they were good friends, they had the kind of people who they weren't like super close initially, but they ended up in a lot of classes together and did form this good bond. He got caught in the wire, and she didn't realise until she was already in the foxhole on the other side of it, alongside all her other students who were all in their own. During the night, he was still trapped there, and she could hear him crying and screaming, and by the morning, his body was ripped apart.
Fuck me.
So there's
just a little bit upset.
a lot of that guilt, and a lot of that I should have.
Have you reversed the effect of the mind scraping?
So that's what you have been told about her. You also know that Mikhail's name isn't on the Wall of Honor.
Ooh.
Yes.
He failed.
I would make her remember her pain. I mean, I'm not
You
even
are
there right
not
now.
here.
I'm not there right now, but I text this.
Actually, no. Whilst we haven't done what families
Yeah,
doing yet.
yeah,
Yeah,
go
fuck
That's
it.
ahead.
true. That's a good point.
Over at the
What's
barracks,
this look like?
you get off your,
I'm-
you drift your fucking quad bike to a slow
I
stop.
Tokyo drift it all the way like, around the barracks.
Deja
I'd be
vu.
like, where's the pen again? So like, can you see this like live time as I'm drawing it?
Yeah,
No.
let's see. It'll do once
Oh.
you click off of it. We'll be able to see.
Alright,
yeah,
but
okay,
that's
you
me
go over
like.
the bridge.
So I do the kick flip over the bridge.
Okay.
I come up,
Mhm.
and then I drift
It looks fucking sick.
into the center of the building. So I go straight to the one I want to,
Perfect.
and like I park up. I put down the kickstand of the snowmobile
the
quad bike
bike.
thing.
The kickstand on four-wheel drive.
Yeah. And has there been like anything done outside the building? Is there anybody stationed there?
What he does, he goes, he quickly zooms over, he checks over by Penis Point, comes back again, gets back to the circle, goes back, cuts across, finds some tracks, comes back, across.
Oh my god. And
Searches on
Og's drawn a
foot, searches on
penis.
foot.
So there's no one really here. There's a few younger students, probably around 12 or 13, who are jogging in like the compacted ice across the barracks. That's pretty much it. There are no staff members.
told.
Exactly. There are no.
The Emperor is made of gold.
Good save.
That's good. The commissar's bolt gun lowers behind you. Yeah, you kind of see the other students, but yeah, it is pretty quiet here.
And anything around Darren Good,
Dangier.
Dangiers in particular.
There is, I think, a single one of the staff members who's there, not one of the tutors, but seems to be some kind of adept who is. You recognise them as one of the ones who brought the body to you, who is just awaiting there outside the room, just making sure that no one enters it.
Okay, I'll walk up to him. Have you seen anybody wanting to come in?
They shake their head at you and says, "No one has tried."
Very good. I'll be going in now.
Stands aside and lets you enter. The room is as you left it. Cold has kind of preserved a lot of the blood on the floor. It's not a nice sign, but not a nice scene.
I will be
sorry, but,
looking for any carvings along the walls or under the bed, or anything around the desk.
Okay, give me an awareness test.
Okay, can I get any effects on the awareness test?
I'll give you
Can
a plus.
Torra spend a fate point to immediately succeed at Torra manual?
I'll give you a plus 20 on it.
Okay, so it's going to be between 0 and 20.
Got a 1 in 5, bud. Don't fuck it.
Let's see. I'm
going to
afraid
use a
you
fate on that
Okay.
to re-roll, because I think that's not... Is it 49 I got? It is.
Yeah.
Damn it.
And let's see. I'm
Nope,
afraid
that made it worse.
failed even more. Yeah, you're unable to find anything new. I will point out you have collected from his room, Torra, the notepad. That is the, like, in terms of things from here that you haven't properly looked at, that would be the remaining thing.
Well then, before I leave, I'm going to do a quick demonology test in here to see if there's any
Cool.
other demonology stuffies.
Let's see. You can confirm that this room has no demonic presence. Whatever killed Dangir, it was not demonic in nature.
Okay.
Nor was he possessed by one, apparently.
Well, before I go, I check the outside of the building for the same thing. I don't mind not doing a roll for that to see if it's still part of the first one.
That's absolutely fine. Again, you find nothing. There is no demonic vibes here.
Okay. And then I'll nod at the guy or girl. I don't know if you
It's a guy.
said which one. It's a guy. I nodded to him. I said, "Keep up the good work. I'm watching you."
He gives you some skim as you pass and heads
Yeah.
to the mic.
Brother.
Perfect.
Give him like sign of the Aquila.
Yeah.
And then I give him the secret handshake of the scholar that only people from the scholar know.
Oh man.
I'd love to roleplay it out for you guys, but unfortunately, Og, Trock, and Claire weren't at the scholar, so they can't know what it is that they work know.
Legally, we're not allowed to know.
Yeah, you guys can't know. Because me and Walt, we talk about this for a lot of time outside of the games, by the way. Like, we have a full-on, it's like 20 minutes worth of handshaking and secret camaraderie techniques.
Is that what you call a hand job in the UK?
As a hand technique.
I actually run a separate game just with students from this scholar, which Raf's invited to. So unfortunately, you guys can't be part of it. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
cool.
It's like It's like 6.3 times better than this game.
It's really, really good.
Damn.
Speaking
Good.
of really, really good, let's get back to the interviews. So
Oh, I'm
next
going to
up,
jump on my quad bike and do another 360 kickflip and go back to the scholar
no. So
and handbrake turn my way in.
so Grisha has just sat down.
So the initial questions we usually ask: your
Yep.
name, what is your name and occupation, who
She,
is your daddy and what does he
lizard
do?
man, lizard man, lizard man. She answers. She is polite if quiet.
Got you. What are your impressions of your fellow candidates?
She smiles and says, "Well, generally good. People here work hard. I've got no real issues. Everyone seems to work together and tries their best for the Imperium. And I think that's something
I
that's
don't
really
trust
valued."
her. Immediately don't trust her.
Because she
Do
said,
you want to do a scrutiny roll?
Go on.
Because I'm terrible at them.
Yeah, done. Torra. Loading. Player sheets are loading. Scrutiny is under what section?
"General skills."
Lower.
Yeah, lower. Boom. Torra. She's not telling you everything.
Torra sighs deeply and turns to BGZ and says, "Turn the camera off. Turn the recording off."
BGZ is confused for a moment, nods, and then presses a non-existent button on his helmet.
Torra walks over and slaps her in the face.
She screams in shock. Yells,
You tell us the truth, and you tell us all of the truth.
"Give me an intimidate roll."
God damn. I wasn't gonna hit him.
I spend a fate.
That's it, reroll.
I tickle her cheek lightly.
I spend another fate. Oh,
No,
I know,
you
I only
can't.
get two. No.
She's unfazed. I don't understand what you mean.
I know you're fucking lying to me, cunt.
Torra talks to this candidate the same way he talks to the cops.
Yeah. Torra, oh my god, how the turntables. Torra is now the cop.
What a twist! He doesn't talk to the police.
Torra,
I am the police.
He's later in the Oppress, he has Amelia laser off the "all cops are bastards" tattooed across his chest. He
Yeah,
was
either
like-
die a criminal or live long enough to become a cop.
Yeah, so she seems shaken, but she she doesn't tell you anything additional with your hearty slap across the jaw.
No one in the clusterfuck of this sort of place is as upbeat and happy as you are. I want the truth, and I want the whole truth. Or I swear to God, as my buddy here and acquaintances as my witness, I will fucking kill you.
She is shaken. She looks down at the table and says, "Gunnar outside said that something might have happened to Dagir."
Gunner's got a big fucking mouth.
She
You better
doesn't
have a
say
big mouth too, huh? Huh?
She looks
What do you
at
think
you
you're gonna-
confused.
You got a
Are
purry
you?
mouth.
Do you reckon Gunner and Dundee are fucking? Is that it? Is it a lovers' quarrel?
No,
Are you
no,
fucking Dundee? Are you fucking Gunner?
no.
Interlinked? Hands holding hands, interlinked.
It will lose my answer. Oh,
Fuck,
God.
this is murder on my throat this
She-
early in the morning.
She refutes your accusations and says, "No, I like. Yeah, he's good. We used to go on runs together, and
Yeah, gonna run to the woods when you fuck, and then you found out that Gunner was fucking Dundee as well,
No.
and that's
No,
and that's why you broke Dundee's legs. He's in the infirmary right now because someone beat him up.
What happened to him?
Huh?
What happened
You
to
should
him?"
know you're #1 suspect in my shit list. Shit fucker.
She
This
she
is
leans back in her chair. She's genuinely quite scared. She says, "You're scaring me." What?
Yeah, that's good. Good. You
At-
should
at
be
this time-
scared.
At this time, kind of fan will break through the door and intimidate her.
Absolutely, he's got no idea what's
Can Athaniel,
This is going so badly.
Athaniel on the microbead tells us, he's like, I'm on my way back.
I'm on my way
No.
back, boys.
Torra turns his head a little bit and put his finger in his ear to the microbead and says, come on in, Nathaniel. Come in hot, Jack the Ripper style.
Okay.
What
Well,
does
first, gonna go up
Nathaniel's
to the door.
entrance look
He's
like?
gonna give it a bit of a go first, so is he successful in this?
No.
I'm gonna fate that.
Okay.
I'm gonna fate that. And
You
as I
run
fate it-
headlong into the door because I've locked it.
Yeah, there you go.
Perfect.
Nice.
So what do you Hans, Lemon Jackson, the other stormtroopers see as you barrel past them?
Oh,
So,
Christ, they're
he-
all
he
waiting out there in a
approaches-
queue, dude.
He approaches the door very calmly, and he just goes like, "Oh yeah, no problem, Torra. I could do that. I could do that." And he just kind of stretches, he rolls his shoulders, clicks his fingers, takes like one big step back, and just kicks the door straight down with running in. And without even looking at where he's pointing, he just points at her and goes, "What the fuck? I've heard everything. They've all told me about everything you've done. How can you fucking sit there and do nothing but look at... Why are you looking at me now? What are you looking at me for? Look at him. He's asking the questions, not me. I'm saying points. What? Why are you still looking at me? Look at him. Don't look at him. I'm talking to you. I'm talking right at you. And you're looking away from me. You're looking at him. Oh, I'm looking back at me again. Look, you're the one that has been...
You're
interviewed
scared of
right
me?
now.
I'm the good cop. He's the
I'm
bad
here.
cop.
Look, I'm here to make sure that whatever's going down is nothing but the true, honest facts. I'm not your enemy, but if you look at me with those eyes, I will be your enemy. No, don't look at me with those eyes. Look at me with... No, okay. Are you wanting to get slapped? I will slap you. Now, give us the answers
Grisha
we need,
is
and we need it
fucking
now.
Terrified. She is like her eyes are wet with tears. She's, what do you want to know?
How many milliliters of liquid is there in a female bladder?
What a strange question to ask and have recorded.
Thank you for responding to that, Critter, with exactly what I was going to say.
Oh, good.
Why?
I just want to find out. So, a healthy human bladder can hold between 400 to 500 milliliters of urine. I want, if we successfully intimidate her enough, I would like you to roll 1d400 to say how many milliliters of urine escape her bladder.
Well, first of all, she needs to fail a willpower test, obviously.
Oh, that's
That is-
true. We do have to play it by the rules.
There is a piss check.
There's a piss check. Good.
I hate this so
which she
much.
passes.
So,
Ah,
good.
Success.
Well, not by
No
much,
PP
though.
for you.
She almost wets herself.
A little bit comes out.
Just a touch.
This is so bad. So I'm so glad that we've disclosed now something that also isn't 100% true, which was the exact opposite of what we were hoping to do with them. Fuck.
What? That?
Okay.
What? That someone beat up?
Yes,
That's
because
what
that
Torra
hasn't
said.
been disclosed yet to anybody.
Yeah. That's still a fucking lie. He didn't get beat up. His legs aren't broken. He's not in the infirmary. He's dead, Lothar.
They're going to go then check.
Yes.
Out of character, by the way. I probably should specify this.
Yeah, if it's
That'd
already
be
yells,
good.
he's dead, Lothar, in front of
No.
front of Grisha.
No. This is. Do I have the silly
dead.
voice? Am I
He's
wearing?
dead.
Am I wearing the silly hat? Am I wearing the silly hat? If I'm not wearing the silly
see.
hat, it's not in character.
I can't see if you're wearing the silly hat. I'm not going to lie.
So,
Oh, my lord.
yeah, she is terrified. She says, what do you want to know?
I kind of forgot what she said to us.
Yeah, so I'm
the
going to
first
perk
time.
up and said, your general impressions of your fellow candidates.
No, what was it? She said she was just like, "Oh, I like everyone a lot."
Yeah,
I like that
essentially,
about
but
her.
she wasn't telling
and
everything. Yeah.
And that's when my bullshit-o-meter went off.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That she was just basically given the fluffy, because yeah. So yeah, no,
Don't
your
give us the
general
fluff.
impressions of your fellow, you know.
She blubbers out that Jerome scares her, as does Mian.
Why does Jerome scare you? She's a lovely woman. She has great faith in the Emperor. Where's your faith in the Emperor? How dare you say she scares you? You should be scared by her, not for her, but because of who she is, not because of who you are. You are weak.
She certainly looks it in front of you, blubbering.
I turn on my viscerator and I hold it right up to her head.
Really?
Yeah.
Right? Honest to God, you really
You like
want to do
spiders?
that?
Now, how much more serious? I got told that you had information that we need on the Vox call. And I'm
Can
going
I-
to find out what information is.
Can I use one of the spiders in my tox dispenser and put it on a Famiel's eviscerator?
Did
No.
it feel like like one of the blades that keeps going round and round?
It's completely fine.
Uh,
It's just gonna get eaten up by the gears later on. It's gonna do
What
one
is
rotation.
the point of going so crazy on this
this
one
this is
cannon?
way ham on this one
Well,
candidate.
Dude, I was going
wow,
upstairs.
she rolled almost the same thing, and now she
Lothar.
pisses herself.
You
Yes.
notice a look in her eyes, which you have seen in the eyes of many veterans. She begins to scream, and she is disassociating.
Oh my gosh, she's Unicritter.
Yeah, she is doing to me. Right. I think at this point, I'm going to say, you guys have done enough. Step out for a minute.
Interlinked.
I can't
Yeah.
hear you over the sound of my eviscerator.
Right. I go
In a
to
very-
press the
very
button on the
contained room.
eviscerator then to turn it
Stop.
off.
So to me, how do you think an eviscerator works? It's not just a button on the side.
It's
I
a
don't.
grip.
Honestly, I thought it was a button on the side. Is it not?
No,
It's
it's a
like a grip.
Technically, a
Fine.
full
I'm
grip
going
as
to
well.
put
I
a
think
hand
it's
then on yours. Say,
I don't
This-
feel his massive yet dainty hands.
Picked recorder.
which is weird because I'm
Picked
reaching
recorder.
halfway across the room in order to do so.
His elbow's in the other corner for him to be able to reach me.
Right. This is done.
Okay. I turn off my eviscerator and I put the door back on its hinges.
Oh yeah, that's right. This has been all echoing all throughout the hallway. Great.
Actually, as I do it, I look down the hallway to see who's next. And who is it next?
Next up, it would be Hans, who's the like.
I think.
So
I
as,
think.
as I go through
And
the door back,
he's
I'm going to reach
he's
over and
heard
say,
all of this through
Yeah.
the door. Yeah.
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 I'm going to say, sorry, Hans, we're running a little bit behind schedule, but we'll have you in soon enough. Don't you worry.
Right. So
Let's
here's
close
what
the
I'm going to
door.
say. Then I'm going to say, listen, like, take the remaining folks, do their interviews in another room. We need a minute. I'm going to be looking straight over at Grisha.
I understand what Lothar means, and like does a big wink to Famiel. Let's leave him to his fucking. And leaves
Lothar,
the
this
room.
isn't really, becoming of you, to be honest.
Lothar doesn't
Lothar's-
respond.
Lothar's like what, 30?
I don't know.
That's
Yeah.
okay. She's like what, 15? Yeah,
17.
That's cool.
Maybe no. This is potentially
Yeah.
more like a vulnerable group situation, though.
I
don't know
don't.
how it's
I
going to
don't.
get his PVG after this.
I don't like Critters self-inserting his own personal tastes into.
I know.
Okay, Amelia's
I'm a
gonna
little bit
start
disturbed.
pushing you guys out the door.
Yeah.
Like, let's
You wanna-
go.
You want to arm wrestle? And so, Famiel and Torra just lie down on the floor in front of all the other people, and I just arm wrestling.
We dolphin dive.
What's going on
Oh my
inside?
god! We stand at other sides of the hallway, and we run at each other and like leap, like lay out forward, grab hands midair.
What got
arm
into
wrestle.
you guys like in the last 10 minutes?
I don't know, you guys
on
got,
the
like-
deep end.
Oh
Someone-
my gosh.
Someone
I
was
don't know.
lying to Torra, and that's enough for.
Yeah, that's enough. That's enough.
It opened the door,
Like,
literally.
I was going
okay.
up the steps, and Torra said to me over the whatever it's called.
Yeah, come in
Foxcaster
Jack the
thing,
Ripper style.
Yeah, come in Jack the Ripper style, and I'm not going to not believe what he has to say, am I?
Not only has that not helped us learn anything from her, but
Oh, we
it's
don't know
also
yet.
likely
No,
caused
genuinely, it's not
problems
going to.
I don't know about
with the
that.
investigation.
I don't know.
I don't
It's
know.
all about knock-on effects, and I think it's going to work out great in the end.
Look, I'll
So-
be honest. Torra has hit his helpful quota for the session about 5 minutes in.
So, as you
Fair.
two are arm wrestling in the corridor, what's happening inside this room again with Grisha? I want to wrap through these last couple of interviews, and then we'll stop there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I think what Lothar would have been doing, because he's seen the folks have the 1,000-yard stare, stuff like that, which absolutely gets in the way of them being able to function later. He'd be going over to the window, undoing it a bit, trying to scoop a little bit of snow off of like the ledge or something like that, and just kind of having that in her hand and trying at the same time of just trying to maintain eye contact with her, bring her back.
Give me a fellowship roll.
That's going to be really, really tough for me. Is there anything that would add to that?
I think with this action, give me a plus 20 on it.
Negative 30, she's
There we go.
horrified for her
Nice.
life.
Yeah, right.
I-
It made it worse, remember?
I think she is stilled a little bit. She is back in the room with you.
Got
She's
you. I think-
still fucking husk right now, but yeah, she is no longer panicking.
Gotcha. I think at the same time, I'm going to encourage her to do the sniper's breath stuff with me and to get her to cool off a little bit before sending her on her way.
Sure. She breathes in unison with you. It does seem to help. She still doesn't meet your eye.
Gotcha. She doesn't have to. So, right. And just saying to her, like, let's get you back through the day. Take your time, that sort of deal. And then eventually, when she's calm enough, sending her along. Oh, yeah, BGZ's still in the fucking room. Holy shit.
They look pretty.
BGC watching what's going on with like blank eyes.
She stands up and heads out of the room shakily. She does not make eye contact with or Samuel or Torra arm wrestling and calling each other cunts and all the stormtroopers cunts in the hall. For those of you listening at
That's
home,
totally fine. As soon as she leaves, Lothar's going to take a handful of snow for himself and keep his breathing going.
BGZ has said you have a mighty soul, Lothar.
Would that I could understand him.
Ipamedia translates.
Oh, she's not in the room, though, is she? She's out with
I
those
pushed them
two.
out of the room. I didn't say I necessarily
Yeah.
left.
So next up is Hans. Who I'll be letting the big lads come back in.
Are we coming back, or are we gonna stay out here?
I imagine you're still arm wrestling as well.
We are style wrestling.
Like the door, like
you're like two kids on the floor, like playing your Game Boys together.
hey, let's okay, Nathaniel, we're gonna do an opposed strength roll to see who's winning the wrestle.
Okay.
Fuck's sake.
I mean, whatever. They can come back if they come.
If they can behave, they're allowed
Yeah.
back in
Yeah,
the
if,
classroom.
if they can behave, absolutely, they can.
So,
However,
Hans
no-
got 2 degrees of success.
Oh, that's a strong.
It is
Ooh.
neck and fucking neck.
I was gonna say though. However, at this point, I'm just gonna tell Lothar that I'm gonna step out because he's got this handled for the most part. I want to find Gunner before he does anything more.
Gotcha. That
Cool.
sounds like a plan.
Let's quickly go
Oh,
through
no.
Hans's.
Sure, yeah. We'll roll through them.
So Hans again doesn't really. What are you doing?
Oh my
fuck's sake.
fucking god.
You guys
Yeah.
are a fucking mess. It's been neck and neck this whole fucking time.
Oh, here we go, boys.
Right.
But
Ah!
Torra wins.
Got it. Alright, so
That's
Hans-
one for one on
Torra
arm
gives
wrestles.
Nathaniel a noogie.
Hans similarly to a lot of these guys, is quiet. He's a bit socially awkward. He doesn't really. Quite similar to Harding, actually. He kind of has that whole attitude of he's quite independent, but not independent as in I work things out in my own way. He's like independent because he doesn't know how to be dependent. He does work in the team, but he doesn't work with the team, if that makes sense.
gotcha.
He didn't really know Dangir. Dangir kept away from him. He kept away from him. It's all fine. As for individuals, he doesn't really like. Doesn't like Gunnar. Dislikes him a lot. Finds him really boisterous and really willing to just argue the toss. Also believes that he doesn't treat machines correctly. Yeah, that's pretty much Hans's. Anything you would like to ask him?
Other than the trust and distrust thing.
Where's Gretel?
He begins to cry.
Female kicks down the door.
Yeah.
Straighter again.
Where's the money, Lebowski?
Gotcha. So any
That
that
was
they trust or
I
distrust.
did it backwards. It was the ski lobby.
So
People
he doesn't trust Gunnar.
Hmm.
He trusts, I'd say strangely he trusts Lem, who's next in. Lem is the one who is poor athletics, but good
Lemon?
faith.
Mm-hmm.
Lem, L-E-M.
Got it.
Lemon?
He's not high up on your guys' list, I know. But yeah.
That's okay. Okay. I don't know. I know other folks have had questions for us too. If he's got any for us, but if not,
He
that's
does not.
okay. All right, fair enough. Then I guess Lem is
Lem
next.
comes in. Yeah.
Cool.
You do notice now that you can actually see him in person a little bit closer. He is a little bit. He's fit, absolutely, whereas the other guys are very sculpted and athletic. He is a little bit more rotund, let's say.
Chonk. Got it.
He, again, seems to be okay. He has a little bit of an envy of those who are doing well, like Faun and Gunnar physically. he knows his combat is as good as them, but when it comes to cardio, he is lacking, and there's a lot of resentment there. He similarly does seem to kind of get along well with Hans. He'd trust him. There's not a level of like, they're not friends, but they actually tolerate each other, that sort of thing.
Gotcha.
They're like the two quietest kids in class.
Gotcha. Two quietest kids in class. They'd never say anything bad about the quiet kids in class.
No. So next up then is Jackson, who
Shotgun noises in the distance.
so Jackson, you've already met, who comes in and sits down, and he kind of looks between you three, kind of nods politely to you, Amelia and BGZ. He sits down.
I know. Remember, you didn't hear what I said.
Oh, sorry.
After the lady there, I forget her name.
Grisha.
Oh
yes, you
I'm
wanted to go
heading
find
out
Gunnar.
for Gunnar. Yeah.
Okay, let's do that. Should we do this interview quickly first and then finish on?
Yeah,
finding Gunnar?
no,
Okay.
that's fine.
No, I did remember. It's all right. Yeah, so Jackson, you've met already. Oh, sorry, yes, sorry, you reminded me, not because I'd forgotten, but because I forgot that you weren't in the room, because I'm an idiot. Gotcha. What am I like? Oh, BGC's remained in the room though. So yeah, Jackson is here.
Good to see you again. We kind of had this scheduled out as, before, but figured we would ask for you to come down here as well. Just got a couple of general questions, stuff you don't already know. First off, your impressions of your fellow candidates.
Well, Dangia sounds like this. Not joking. Can you imagine if he just started doing comedy impressions?
That'd be amazing.
Funny.
There was a story
he-
about a lady.
He says, yeah, he kind of has that resentment that he expressed when he was in your rooms, where he kind of views it that no one wants to be here. Everyone should be as miserable as him. He's really not taking this well. So yeah, he doesn't have the connections with others that they have with each other. He never really knew Dangia, never really spoke to him. Dangia was always the one with his hand first up, so Jackson never felt like he needed to. Yeah, he doesn't say a huge amount. If you remember, he is quite a shell.
Yeah. I know you said that as far as the work that we're involved with, that it's not your cup of tea. But if you were to make the choice that we have to make, who of the candidates would you choose first?
He furrows his brow and says, "What do you want? Do you want the best soldier?"
I want to know who you would choose, not what I want.
He sighs and says, "I would choose Mian.
Why?
Good shot, good brain. Little more to it, really. She's very good. I mean, this is assuming that's what you look for as members of the Inquisition, my lord. I'm really not best positioned to say what qualities are suited."
Lothar remains silent and maintains eye contact.
Jackson breaks and looks away at the table.
Who would you really choose?
Dangia.
Why?
He had a way on exercises. People listened to him. Even those who disagreed with him would respect him in the end. That's good. That's needed, I think. Anyone can fire a las gun, but someone needs to tell them where to point.
Got you. Lothar, I think, at this point would look down and away, like he was writing down on the notepad, or his notepad or whatever, and said, "Why did you choose to change your answer?" And looks back up.
He smiles very weakly and says, Forgive me, my lord, I thought the first one was wrong.
In what way?
I thought it was incorrect, that it was not what you wanted, and I wanted to make sure it was okay, it was correct for you. Forgive me.
You have mine and the Emperor's forgiveness both. Thanks for your time, Jackson.
He nods and says, good luck on your search
Our search?
for candidates.
Thank you.
He smiles weakly, making your eye, and leaves. Meanwhile, Amelia, Gunnar is heading towards the infirmary.
So just remind me. So he does care about Dangir. Like they were
He wasn't friends with him,
respected,
but he's
not.
yeah. There's something missing in the class when he's not there.
Yeah. I guess you're saying so. I catch up to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I just Gunnar.
He turns to you.
I'm just trying to think of exactly what I want to say.
That's all right.
But yeah, you're searching for answers. I take it you don't buy what was told to you.
He looks at you and he says, with respect, my lord, you are members of the Inquisition.
We may be, but I am not one who likes to lie when it's unnecessary. I was quiet during your interview.
He nods.
I'd like to know, what are your intentions? He's not in the infirmary.
Is he in the barracks?
No.
Where is he?
Perhaps we can help each other. I have unfortunate news for you.
You see his back straighten as he prepares for news he expects.
I kind of give him the run. I'm just gonna give him the rundown of what I know. 500. We found him in the barracks and
Yep.
the wounds.
The full on. This is everything.
Yeah.
He seems quite taken aback by this.
You can understand as well why we don't want the news fully out there.
He begrudgingly nods, says, yes, I suppose you don't want to cause panic.
I take it, in my book, it's respect for respect. I've given you the truth. Perhaps now you can help us. This is part of why we wanted to interview everybody, to get a feel for each other and who may or may not be involved.
He nods his head and says, so, very well, I will keep it to myself.
If anything, I'd like to recruit you at this moment.
He smiles and says, are you sure?
I can't. I mean, I'm on this investigation. I can't go further than that without the team.
I see. Okay, well, that would be an honor.
I'd also, because you seem to, how would I put it? You cut through a lot of the bullshit, which I also like.
He nods.
I need to know about your teachers as well.
Right, I will tell you what I can. And shall we end the session there?
Sounds like a plan. No, I had to reconnect for a second.
Bang him.
Can't believe you lost tic-tac-toe, Critter.
I can't believe you fucking cheated.
I'm not saying I fully
That's what you
believe
did.
that Gunnar is innocent necessarily. I really don't know who's who, but I'm taking a chance.
A risk. Yeah. I think
Gonna
that's
take a
fair
chance on me.
because he seems to present himself very direct and
And
blunt.
he wants to do
I can't hear you because someone's fucking singing.
I can be fully wrong. Just in the criminal could be him and whatever. But you know what? It's plot.
That's
Mhm.
plot, baby. And with that,
That it is.
let's stop recording.